How's everyone doing?
Gravy.
You getting some deals done, dude?
Yeah, I'm trying to get another one in escrow right now.
I like it. You're on fire.
Yeah, this will be my fourth one in a month.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's just like people keep coming to me and they're like, I got cash, I got cash. Like, okay, let me keep finding them. So
Yeah.
this one's 769 purchase, 150 rehab, and it's right now 1.2 ARV, but somebody's on the market right now with the same size house at $1,300 a square foot. So I'm checking that out on Thursday for the brokers. If that thing sells, it's gonna skyrocket my ARV.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. And you know what? As a broker, it's best to under promise, over deliver.
Yes, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
how you build really long-term clients. I know for us, we definitely try to do that. And that's why we get to keep most of our list backs too. God, did my camera just freeze up again?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
You're doing the like
Yeah,
import.
it's like this is let me see what is going on. This camera's having issues lately. It's kind of a good shot though. It's like
Yeah.
so. All right, people are still logging on. We are talking brokers today. And then for everybody logging on that has been watching Project Broker, I know some people came to the call last night. Um, just so you know, there's been a little delay on the release of education because many people that know me, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I did week 3, and week 3 was deal finding and underwriting in the same section, and it was going really long, and so I was trimming it back so it wasn't so long, and then I got done with it, and I wasn't very happy because I felt like we'd missed some things. And so I ended up re-recording it, releasing the other section, and then underwriting's coming out on its own. So you get a free extra section in it. I didn't want to skimp on the underwriting side. And so that's why there is a little bit of a delay, but that was released out and the underwriting's dropping in tomorrow. Good news is you got a little free bonus thing on it. You just got to wait a little bit longer. Sometimes guys, I go through it. My team will tell you this. I'm like, no, we can make this better. We can make this better. So, and that is kind of what happened. So people are still kind of logging on. Anyone have some wins this week so far? Drew's got his 4th deal in escrow, which is huge. I was telling some people I just wrote, Byron, I might be coming right back out your way. I just wrote a huge offer for 6.2 million on a house in Newport. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Yeah. Reed, do you have a win? I saw you get off mute for a second.
I did. I closed a wholesale deal with a flipper. So
Nice. Tell us about it.
yeah,
Would you find? Would you sell?
single family home. Bought it or had it under contract at 835. I got it, sold it at 900. So
Oh, is this the
yep, the airplane hangar.
dude, tell people a little bit about that deal and then we're gonna get going because that is a
Yeah.
cool piece of property for sure. I've never seen you. That was the first time I've ever had someone send me a deal with an airplane hangar.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It's a property out in King County, Washington. Out for those in Washington State, out in Fall City, and it is in Fall City. There's a small like Muni airport that has like an HOA, probably 15 to 20 homes on that HOA that have access to a private runway. And there's a rundown home, cold called it, reached out to the person, got under contract. It has a hangar, a 2-plane hangar attached to the house. So it's a pretty cool property, super unique. Had some septic issues, had to figure all that out. But yeah, the property itself is pretty cool. It's tough to comp because there are no properties quite like that. So we'll see how the investor does and see what the exit price will be.
Hey, you know what? It was a cool piece of property for sure. You guys actually,
Yep.
I looked at this for a second, but when I talk about disciplined buy boxes, I think it was a great piece of property. great piece of, it was awesome. I actually wanted to break my buy box on it, but there's certain areas I don't work in for certain reasons. The permitting can be very long, and so I had to kind of move on from it. So stick to your buy box so you don't get yourself in trouble. And this is one that you wanted to break the rules on. It was a really cool piece of property for sure.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, maybe I can buy a plane next. That'd be cool. So, all right, well, we're gonna get going, guys. A lot of people on tonight, and so I'm gonna get going through the quick presentation, and then tonight, you guys, again, we can talk about whatever you have going on this week. That's what the Tuesday calls are for. Bring those questions in. I'll stay on until they're all answered. But tonight's focus, what we're talking about, is hiring the right broker and why it's important to have that person on your team. And it's not because I'm a broker that I pitched this so hard. Before I was a broker, I had the same type of people that were helping me on all my flips, and they would go through these responsibilities. And in the you know, as investors, a lot of times, you know, I've had to learn this lesson the hard way too. It's not all about cost. You know, it's about profit. I don't really care what the loan costs. I don't really care what the broker costs. It's a cost of the deal. And so, but when you have these brokers too, we want to hold them to a standard, right? A lot of brokers want listbacks, and that's okay. I give out listbacks to brokers that bring me deals, or I'll even buy them out of them just so I can have my team work on them. And, you know, it's important to always take care of your broker, any of your deal finders, guys, wholesalers, brokers. There's going to be the ones that throw the mud at the wall at you, which is like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And they're really just passing along a message, not adding any value. They don't really care as much. You don't have that relationship. But when you can build that relationship with the wholesaler or build that relationship with the broker, that's how you get better deal flow, and you build long-term partnerships for years. I was telling someone this the other day is, you know, inventory is a little bit light. And, you know, I've been working with a lot of these wholesale shops that are a little bit newer. And everything they're sending me, it's just not the greatest inventory, or they'll send me something. I say, I'll take it without even going there because I just know it. And then they're like, oh, well, will you pay 20 grand more? And will you do this? And I'm like, no, I won't. And not on principle. Like, why don't you just tell me the price was this in the beginning? And I would have told you I actually need it cheaper, whatever it is, right? They're trying to negotiate it up. And that's okay. They have a right to do that, you guys. Wholesalers can do what they want. It's their business. They're working their butts off. They can do what they want, but it makes us spin our wheels a lot when we don't have those relationships. And I will tell you, in the last 30 days, about 3 months ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on the relationships that I've had for years. And I went out and I met with a lot of different brokers that I've done a lot of deals with, wholesalers I've done a lot of deals with. And I just sat with them and spent more time. And out of this one broker team that I work with, they sell a lot of dirt in Seattle. That's what their bread and butter is. They sell dirt. They're probably some of the best at it. But in this climate, builders don't want to pay what sellers want because their cost of money is high. Their bill costs are high. And so for them as a broker team who are very talented, they're not getting a lot of transactions done. And so I said, hey, look, let me look at all the deals you're working on and let me get you offers. And if the houses are bigger than 1,500 square feet, hold me a list of them and let's look at them. We did 5 deals in the last 45 days with that team by just spending time with each other, getting to know each other, and, you know, making it, you know, I had them send me the deals in the way that I wanted to look at them so I could give them quick numbers. And now they've got paid really well as brokers. They were 0 for 5 on those ones. Now we're 5 for 5 on the offers we wrote out. So the brokers are winning. And then for me as a client, I'm winning because I'm getting the information and I don't have to spend as much time looking for deals because they're sending it to me in the way I need it to make a quick decision. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is building that broker partner. And you guys,
James,
yes.
can I ask you a question about that? Today's call on the calendar says it's floor plan and flows. The broker call was listed as next week. Just a heads up.
Oh, I had it on the wrong calendar then. Well, good. You know what? Floor plan and flow. That's, you guys, you know what? The good thing is I am renovating houses on repeat, and I have a floor plan right now that I'm struggling with, and I've gone through 4 revisions, and it's all about flow. So you know what? We will pull that up instead. That's okay. The good thing is, guys, my hands are dirty on things all the time, and so we can always talk about it. Let's grab a floor plan. This is actually great that we're talking about this, because this floor plan, we want to talk. Right now, we're going to pull this up. Done. Thank you for doing that, Nicole.
No worries. I put it in the chat, but I realized you didn't see it, so I figured I would just be the one to interrupt you because everyone was chiming in saying the same thing in the chat.
Well, you guys, I mapped out 5 floor plans in the last couple days, and that's what we are going to talk about then. Okay, so floor plan and flow. I can't wait to get on my high horse about the brokers, guys, because we're going to change things on how you have brokers work for you after next week's call, which is really, really important. But let's pull something up. So you guys, right now, what we're going to do on the floor plan and flow is we're going to pull up a property. We're going to pull up the comps for it, and I'm going to pull up the floor plan. We're going to talk about cost of changing things around, when it's worth it, when it's not worth it, and the reasons behind that, and looking at the comps. And so you guys, for floor plan and flow, one of the things that we always have to think about with investors, right? When we go through and I look at people that buy properties and they go, hey, I had a budget of $120,000 to upgrade all these items, and for some reason I'm at 160, I've gone way over. And typically it's because they're underestimating what layout changes they actually have to make in the house. That's where a lot of the costs come in, guys. And when you start moving things around, it costs more money, it takes more time. In addition to, it really can make you have to replace systems that you weren't even planning on replacing. And so there's a domino effect, and there's a cause and effect. And sometimes you have to reconfigure the whole house to maximize the value. That's what we do a lot in Seattle. We're buying a 1920s home where we're taking it down to studs. We're rebuilding the whole thing out, and we're doing that to perfect it and maximize the plan. But where people go way over budget is they weren't really looking at the floor plan they needed to achieve when they were underwriting it. And then they want to perfect the floor plan and they go to sell it, and they can't get any more for the house because the house that they were looking at in the very original floor plan was already perfected. And so what we're going to pull up right now, is I'm going to send this in, is you guys. So I went to a house today that we just bought. This house, super cosmetic fixer house. I'm going to pull it up for you guys. We're going to go through the photos. Randomly, this is a deal I got from that broker team that I was just on my high horse about. It was a deal they're trying to work as dirt, didn't work, and they sold it to me as a house. And so this house is in great shape. I'm going to pull up the pictures, and I'm going to pull up the floor plan right now. If you walk through this house quickly, you're going to think it's a very cosmetic fixer renovation. It's got a good furnace system with good ducting. It's got vinyl windows. It's got a good roof. It's got a good, it's got very good siding. And you could easily look at this house and be like, oh, this is like a $90,000 renovation. And then when you pull comps, you're going, okay, well, I need a 4-bed, 3-bath property. And we're going to pull those up. It shows you, I'm pulling it up right now, that there's good values out of it. But the big difference on this house is, okay, well, how do you go in and prepare it? So this house, if I walked it quickly, I would think it's going to be about 90 to 100 grand to fix. We're going to be spending $140,000 on the fix to maximize the price of the house. The reason being is it has all the spaces that the comps have, but they have them in the wrong spots. And when your bedrooms and your bathrooms in the plans are in the wrong spots, that's where buyers won't pay you a premium, and your house is going to sit stale on the market. And so it's not that you don't want to spend the money, but you have to know this going into the house. And so originally we had offered these people $780,000 for the house just based on the pictures that were provided to me. After walking the house, I go, oh, wow, this is not 100 grand. The pictures looked really good, but there's some awkwardness to it. There's some space. There's some things that have to be moved. And because we have to move some things, we have to replace a good heating system. We have to rewire some things. We have to trench in plumbing, and I'll show you why. Because it gets us to a value that we were targeting, which was $1.1 to $1.15 million. If we did not move these spaces around, the house would sell for $999. And so these are important things to look at. So I'm going to pull it up right now. And there's always a cause and effect from these floor plan changes. It is, you know, because there doesn't mean we always have to perfect the plans. We just need to create the plans that are going to be the most profitable. So we will sell houses where we would much rather have different spaces, but it's not justified. And if it's not justified, then we can't pencil it out. So let me pull it up right now. Go. Photos first for you guys. There we go. All right, you guys see this beautiful house?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys, this is your typical tri-level house. It's roughly 2,000 square feet. It's got great vinyl windows. It's got a newer roof. Siding is in great shape. And when you come in, it's just really not in bad shape at all. The deck was in good shape. We had a good backyard. This is like like a flipper's dream house. We're like, oh, this is easy. I can update it. I can put it back to market and I can sell it for a high number. And we're going to pull up those comps. But as you kind of go through this house and on the photos, you know, we see that, okay, it's got a nice big bathroom here. It only has one bath. So on the upstairs, it has a 3-bed, 1 bath. And this is the primary bedroom in this area here. Now, things that we want to look at on the floor plans, I'm going to pull them up after we go through the photos, is the thing that we want to do is always maximize dead space. And we're going to do that by looking at the comps and then seeing the space. So this is in this style of home, the typical bedroom is about a 12 by 10 or 12 by 12. Now in this property, this bedroom is about a 12 by 14, 12 by 15 foot. It's like 14 and a half. The reason that's a big deal is we always want to look at how can we reclaim space and add more value to the property without having to move a bunch of structure around. The key to staying in budget is to move the least amount of structure around. So the house comes
Sorry,
in.
James, can you repeat that one more time? How big should the primary be? Is that what you
It
said?
depends on the comps. In this specific area, you know, the typical primary bedroom is going to be about a 12 by 12 bedroom. And we're going to show it when we look at the comps too, when we pull them up. This house here has about a 14 and a half to 15 foot span here. What it backs up to is the bathroom. And the thing that we're missing in this house is we have a 3-bed, 1 bath upstairs. And we need to add that primary bath to get the value out of it. Now in this house, we can perfect the plan, and we're going to go through it in floor plans. But there's a couple other things that we need to accomplish in this house. We need to get a primary bedroom in there. We need to get the kitchen opened to make a great room concept, because everything that sells for big money has that in this zone. And then we need to maximize the basement square footage to add a bedroom, bathroom, and laundry down there and have a formal bonus room, because on the main floor, we have our living room, which is sectioned off. It's a little bit smaller. This is our main space. We have a giant giant chimney here, which was on the question. Do we want to open that up and just remove that chimney? That's an expensive thing to do. We have a closed off kitchen here. We got to get that wide open. And then in the basement down below, it kind of came down and it was just a laundry and 2 bedrooms and no bonus. And so I'm going to pull up the floor plans, but the first thing we're going to do before we look at those floor plans isn't about designing the house that I think is most sellable. It's about looking at the data to tell us what to do. When I design a floor plan, it is not to my own personal preference. It is whatever is going to be the most cost-effective way of doing this. So right here, we're going to pull this up. I'm going to pull up the comps for this house. Really cool house, great condition, but just not the right floor plan. Because in this, you guys, this is going to be in a family-friendly neighborhood. We always want to think about how are we designing the floor plan? Who's going to be buying it? We're going to look at that inside the comps here. Narrow these comps down pretty quickly. And we're going to go from 900 to 3, because we have the high sale in the area. We're looking at homes that are 1,700 square feet to 2,400 square feet. And so our house right now is a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 2,000 square foot house with a 1-car garage, mid-century, that has, you know, overall good location, good spot, and this is in a very family-friendly area. So as we can see, not a lot of data points going on in this area. Not a lot of sales. So we're going to go back 360 days. And then we're going to start looking at the comparables. So before we even map out that plan, I'm looking at the houses first. That's what people do wrong. They go backwards. They start looking and they go, oh, I should fix this. I should fix this. I should fix this. We want to use data to tell us what we need to fix and not fix. We can always make this better, but will someone pay for it? And so in these comps for this house, we're going to look at a couple different floor plans. The first one is, here's a house that sold for $920,000. It's got vinyl windows. It's got a new roof. It's been somewhat updated in here. As you can see, it's got an open kitchen, and this is all renovated here. So nice kitchen for this area. This works. So the house has been fully updated with things that we would do as flippers. Roofs, windows, millwork. Bathroom's been renovated. And so as I'm looking at this, the thing that I'm looking at is, well, how do we maximize the price of this house? You know, again, I just paid $750,000 for this house. And if I'm to update the whole thing and I can only sell it for 920, I'm going to lose money after all costs said and done. And so what that tells me after looking through the photos is the current floor plan does not work. The reason the current floor plan does not work is this is a 3-bed, 2-bath property. And if I keep it a 3-bed, 2-bath property like it is, it's going to be selling for about $920,000, even if I open up the kitchen and renovate the whole thing. And so that's a problem. So that plan does not work. That's where I go, okay, we need to start adding value. How do we do that? And I know I'm frozen again, so I'm going to unfreeze. Because I looked like I was about ready to go to the bathroom. So again, we go through the data first, guys. Where are things living? So we have one that sold at 920. We got another house. So you can see how fast I comp houses. 920. Then we have a more dated house at 950 that's a little bit bigger in the area. Then we get into a 4, 2.5 bath with a no garage, 2,200 square feet. It's been renovated. It's actually a pretty nice house. Closed off kitchen, big kitchen. It's got a bathroom. But the thing that this thing does not really have, so it's got a very tight little corner shower, weird toilet situation in the primary. Definitely not a bad little house. So now we know, okay, so a 4, 2.5 bath with a no garage, which is a big value hit in the city of Seattle, because this thing's also located off Greenwood, which gets a little bit busy, and it's also next to, I think, a prison yard, if I remember right there. So not great for sale. So we want to go, okay, well, I have this opportunity. It's $750,000. How do I make money on this? Because that's a good price. Like we don't see one house in this area selling for 750 grand right now. So I know it's a good price. It's about perfecting the right plan and putting the right plan on it to maximize the deal. We know, based on what we saw in the photos, if I don't add a primary bath, it could be selling for around 920 if I update it. So as we start digging through the comparables, then we have another one here, 972. This, a similar kind of mid-century style house, 2-car garage. It's got views. It's a pretty good house too. It's got a little bit smaller kitchen, but it's open concept. And then right here, this is not like what people really want in today's market, right? As I'm looking at specs and planning it out. The house has been kind of updated in the kitchen with like a 2008 kitchen. Bathrooms have not been updated through here. As we get into the primary, again, somewhat updated, shower comes through, but it tells me, okay, well, this has a primary bath. I got to get a primary bath in if I want at least at the 972,000. So it's a partially updated house, does have a view. And then we start looking into, okay, well, why did this sell so low with it? We have an unfinished basement here. So like a big chunk of the square footage was not usable. So I'm not too worried about that comp. And we start getting into, there's a flip. Actually, this is one of our flips from back. This sold for 982. Wasn't a bad renovation. But this house was just super awkward in general, guys. We paid a lot less for this house. I think 640 is what we sold it for. Probably one of the ugliest houses I've seen when we bought it. Awkward floor plan. That's why that sold weird. And so things that we want to look at though. So this should be a red flag. Now I know this house really well. But why would this be a red flag? Well, because it's 1,980 square feet. It's 4-bed, 2.5 bath. Not the greatest looking house with the bump outs. But we start to look at, okay, well, where is all the spaces? These are things that we want to notate and you want to have your broker pull out for you. Okay, on the main floor, they had 3 beds, 1 bath. They had a full bath on the main floor. We had a 3/4 bath. And then we had kind of in the subfloor, we had another bedroom in there. Okay, but the spaces were really chopped up. They were weird. The primary was in its own central location. That was actually more in the basement than it was up top. And that's not great for resale. So like, as we're looking at underwriting, these are the information you need your broker to pull out. This, because if we're all looking at this online, if we're new to the market, let's say I'm in Arizona and I look at this and go, ooh, I don't know if I want to buy this deal. This is all renovated. It's a 4-bed, 2-bath. It's got the same parking situation. It's in a similar location. And it sold, it was listed for $1,050,000 and sold for $982,000. That's not good. But the reason this house sold low is because the floor plan was not good on this house. We had a primary in the basement. We had 3-bed, 1-bath up top. And then we had kind of an awkward come in. Your kitchen's tucked in behind, not great room concept. It doesn't feel really good when you come through. And so it was more about the primary in the basement. So now we're going to go to the next set of comps.
How did you figure out the primary was the basement just off that?
It was based on this map. So you guys on the MLS, and this is important, you guys, we want to always know where the bedrooms and bathrooms are.
Right.
Because like in certain neighborhoods, family-friendly neighborhoods, if all your bedrooms and baths are upstairs with the primary, that sells for more. Families like being close to their kids. If you have 1 bedroom up top, 1 on the main, 1 in the basement, and they're all spread out over 3 floors, not great for resale. And so it really comes down to who is the demographic that's buying your house as you're designing the floor plan and what the comps say. In this area, it's a family neighborhood. That's what we're going to be designing. If we're in Seattle and it's in Capitol Hill, more trendy area where maybe there's less kids there right now, bedrooms on each floor are actually not a bad thing because a lot of people rent out their basement unit. They have an office on the main and they live in the upstairs and they like the separation of space. And so when you go on, you can always pull I'll grab like the next house too.
Yeah,
You-
because on that one, like I see the 3 beds and 1 3/4 bath upstairs and just a 1 bed half bath downstairs. They wouldn't have necessarily known just looking at that MLS data that the primary was downstairs.
Yeah, are you sure that's how that one read?
I don't know. I read it as 3 bed and 1 3/4 baths upstairs, and then I think a half bath, 1 bed and half bath downstairs.
Yeah, this was
Yes, a full
main.
bath and a 3/4 bath on the main.
Yeah, and this house alone is a little bit trickier because it actually was like 3 different little floors on it. That's
Okay.
why when you look at this house, you
Yeah, because sometimes they often don't, especially if it's a bad floor plan, like they don't list the floor plans in the MLS photos. So that's why I was curious.
yeah, and so a lot of times we're tracking the bedrooms in this size. Now, this house, you guys, I just know fairly well, but that's also we're going to call the brokers. And this is important, you
Okay.
guys. Like, if you see a data point like this where it's a little bit lower and you're going, why is that? Pick up the phone and call the broker and say, hey, look, I'm listing a house in the area. You know, you can lie to them too, guys. Hey, I might want to have you come out and take a look at listing it, but I'm a little concerned about this house that you sold. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And why it's weird. So this house, as you can see, steps up here. It's like this weird gradual. There was actually like 4 different levels inside this house. And so it's also why it kind of so weird. But we always want to check where those spaces are. And so as we kind of go down, we're going to start kind of establishing the nicer comps, right? So here's a house here that's sold for $1,025,000. 4 bed, 2.5 bath Rambler, different style house. We're just going to kind of reference that as a value. Here's another house that got flipped in the area, which was actually our house again, which was a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1 car garage, 1,960 square foot house Rambler on a busy corner. And that sold for 1.1 million. And as we kind of go in, we start to see the prices go up. And we're going to start notating a quality of finish, but also we're going to start looking at where are the spaces. So here's a tri-level here. It's a 3 bed, 3 bath. So every other comp that we looked at so far has been a 4 bed, 2.5 bath. And the reason those houses might be selling for less is if I'm looking at that is I'm going, okay, well, it's a family-friendly house. We need that 3rd bath for that extra space. Because as we look at these comps, we got a 2.5, we got a 2.5, and we have a 2.5. The 2.5 baths to 2 baths are all selling from $950,000 to $1 million. Once you get to that 3rd bathroom, and this is what's going to be important on this layout of this house, we start to get into a little bit higher price points. So this house, tri-level house, sunken living room, not usually ideal. It's been updated over time, homeowner wise. Not a bad house, you guys, because it's a little bit nicer in spots. But as we get to the floor plan, and I'm looking at the comps, I'm starting to go, okay, well, what do I need to design here? So here's the primary bedroom here. It's about a 12 by 12 bedroom. We have a bathroom that goes through this section. And it has that formal primary suite. There's the secondary, or that's the primary shower, not the hugest shower. And these are important, you guys. So as I'm going to look at this floor plan, I'm going, okay, this is what I need to accomplish here, bathroom size. This is not ideal. This bathroom here is going to be 5 feet wide by 8 to 9 feet long. Not a huge primary bath. But this house sold well for the 1.1 over the other houses that were 950 to $1 million because it had a little bit more usable space down in the basement here. It's got its bonus. It's got the extra bathroom. These are terrible photos, you guys. Don't hire a broker that takes these photos. I'll tell you that much. These are with the camera phone. And then we have a 3 bed, 2 bath that has been totally tricked out that sold for 1.275. We have a 4.2 selling for $1,085,000. And then we start getting into a different range here where we have this house here, Edmonds, borders up with it, 4 bed, 3 bath, 2133 square feet. So when we look at it on a layout, and what do we need for amenities? So once we go to 2.75 bath and above, the data points go from 20 to 2. There's only been 2 homes sold that has a house that can service 3 bathrooms which in a family of 4, that's typically going to be what people want. And so as I'm looking at my floor plan for what things are selling for the most for, it's okay, well, it's families that need that 3rd bathroom. So as we kind of go through, you know, things that we want to look at, where are the bedrooms, where are the bathrooms, how many amenities do we need? Now, when we pull up these floor plans, there's some challenges to install that 3rd bathroom in there. And that's what we're going to talk about. And that's why the budget went from 100 grand to 130,000. Let's pull this up. Floor plans haven't quite came through yet, so hold on.
James, do you draw floor plans or like where do you get these floor plans?
Okay, so when we get our floor plans, we actually use Cubicasa. So my kind of standard practice right now is we send our project manager out. He goes and gets some additional photos for me, and then I have him use that Cubicasa app, and they map out the floor plan. And then when he came back, so you guys, when I bought this house, the first time I ever have been to this house was today. I was able to fully underwrite it by looking at the photos, getting additional photos from my project manager, and then he sent me out that floor plan. He spent about 10 minutes in there, he sent it out, and then I can start accurately looking at the budget. My original budget was 100 grand for the house. After getting the floor plans, it was just not in the cards anymore. I was like, okay, we're missing spaces that we need. Please up. Who has a tough floor plan they're working on right now?
I wouldn't say it's tough. I have a floor plan I'm working on right now, but I don't think it's particularly tough.
A un juego de nieto de Sandra que van a jugar.
There we go. All right, here we go, you guys. They're coming in right now.
Hey James, how often do you weight out like the bedroom bathroom mix versus square footage?
Square
we're-
footage, you guys, is, you know, with square footage, you want to kind of stay within that 10% range before it starts really affecting the value. The bed, bath, and locations are going to have more impact typically. You know, like right now, the comps that we're looking at that are over 1.1, they're a little bit bigger than us. You know, we're 1,900, 2,000, they're 2,100. But we're going to have a 4-bed, 3-bath house. They were a 3-bed office in a 3-bed, 3-bath in an office. And so, you know, we just kind of want to stay in that same range because there is a price per square foot factor that will start throwing off appraisers in there. And then buyers also, they start nitpicking it. They're like, well, this is priced at this, and that doesn't make any sense. And so I personally would rather get the more similar square footage and then build the right plan into it than I would actually, you know, reducing the bed bath count. And it comes down to kind of flow and livability. So we're going to pull it up right now. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at, guys, is show you exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to map up the top floor, which is going to be the 3 beds, 1 bath. We're going to literally map this out right now because the beautiful thing about this call is I had to do this tonight anyways. So this works out really well. Okay, let's share
You
this.
got a nice frozen look there.
It's that frozen look. You guys, I think we were trying to figure out the Wi-Fi issue, and I think I might have blown out my USB, so it keeps freezing out. Let me fix it. Life of a flipper. When you take your laptop to a lot of job sites, you break them often. You guys, I break my laptop every 12 months. Okay. So we're going to pull the top floor now. How do we optimize it and also keep our cost under control. So what's up? All right, you guys can see this floor plan now, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So things that we want to look at right now, guys, is upstairs, we're missing a primary bath. And if you're missing the primary bath, we're going to sell this house for about $150,000 less than I need to. And so how do we optimize that and maximize the space, but still deliver the right product, right? When we looked at some of those comps, we saw the bathrooms are still tight. They don't need to be that big, but we need to create it. And so on this floor plan here, we got a standard bedroom here, standard bedroom. We have a bathroom, and we're always looking for where is the missing space. We have a bathroom that's 8'10" plus this section here, which can be reclaimed. That's just actually a closet in that space. So now we can take this bathroom here that is 412 by 8 plus 3 right here. So now this bathroom is actually about 12.5 feet long. 12.5 feet is way too big for a bathroom. Your standard bathroom is going to be 5 by 9 typically in this kind of house. So the first thing we want to do is we got to add the bathroom. How do we control cost? The best thing we can do is add the bathroom in this section here. We always want to try to stack our plumbing fixtures. So as you're laying out your houses, and we got to create these spaces, the fewer your plumber has to run those lines, the cheaper your costs are going to be. And so when we're planning out these spaces, how can we move them around? Now, we can't jeopardize the floor plan, but that's always going to be our first look. How can we add that bathroom? So right now, what we do know is this backs up to the biggest room in the house. This room here was actually 19 feet by 4. It says 412. It's 5. There's a full tub in there. So for us to create that primary bath, we got to go, okay, well, how do we do that? To create that primary bath, we need at least 5 feet wide for a shower. And then we have to have a toilet and a vanity. That is going to be a 5 by 8. Now, for a primary bath, we want to get that a little bit bigger if it allows for it. So if we have 19 feet here minus 5, that gives us 14.5 feet to work with this space. The first thing we need to worry about is where's our access. Now, in this one, it's fairly easy. We can bump our door down to our bedroom right here. No problem. This is very, very affordable, guys. We're going to frame this wall here. That's some 2x4s, and we're done. We're going to move our door down. This is maybe $500 in framing at this point, because we want to kind of stay inside those structural walls. Now, there's not a lot of structure to move around here anyways. By moving this door down now, we can now pick up. We have 5 feet. We got to get it to a minimum of 8. Our primary bedroom needs to be 12 feet at minimum. 5 plus 3 puts us at 8, which still allows us to get to our minimum space. Now, if this bedroom was only 12 feet wide, this would not work because we can't make our primary bedroom 9 feet wide. At that point, we'd have to recomp the house and plan out a bathroom and create a big primary suite through here. But that's going to cost a lot more money. We're going to have to blow out through some structural walls in this section. We're going to need to now put in a walk-in closet and a big bathroom. And now we're also jeopardizing our floor plan for sellability, because now a small family does not want to have 2 bedrooms in the basement and 2 bedrooms up. It's not great for resale. And so luckily for us, we now go, okay, well, now we have a space that we can work with. We are now at 12 feet wide. It hits our minimum square footage or size for our primary. And now we have 8 feet long in this section by roughly it's 9, it's 12 feet. Yeah, this is 12 feet. So now that we have 8 by 12, what do we do with this? The first thing is we can plan out our primary here. So we're 8 by 12. We can actually go 6 feet wide now in the primary. So it's going to be a little bit shorter. Or it's going to be a little bit wider than I was even hoping for. You guys, Microsoft Paint works great for this stuff, by the way. Look, you can just delete things, you can move things around. Okay, so now we have a primary bath that's 6 feet wide, which is going to allow me to get a nice big longer shower in, which is better than what we saw in the comps. Because I would rather focus on a bigger primary than a bigger hall bath. Because the people with the primary are the ones spending the money. And so they want a little bit better bathroom. We don't want that to be an objection. Now we can get a 6-foot long shower, standards 4 to 5. So we have an oversized shower. It's 3 feet. We can now drop our toilet in this section through here. And that still gives us room for a 42-inch vanity at this point. And the cost to do this is affordable because we're not reframing a bunch of things. To do this, we are going to frame one 2x4 wall over this way to cut the bathroom in half. This wall's already here. We're going to cut in a door. We're going to move our door down. And we probably have about 10 2x4s, 15 2x4s for this entire frame job right here. Now, if I go put my bathroom up here, I got to blow out this structure. I got to put in probably some posts in here. I got to figure out where I can drop new posts to get access. And I could create this huge primary suite, but now I have a floor plan that's less desirable, and I'm going to spend 3x the cost because now I'm moving my plumbing way over here into this section. That's going to cost me double. I have to put in 2 structural posts here to post it up to where I can get over. That's going to cost me about 2 times more than my 2x4s right through here. And so we can add this bathroom without moving any structural walls around. That's the key. We always want to try to stay inside the structure if we can, and the floor plans allow for it. Now at this point, we have this weird sized bathroom here though. So we got our primary bath that hits what we need for the comps. Now we have this primary bath that's kind of a weird shape. It is 8 feet wide, which a tub is going to be about 2.5 feet. So we can stick a tub right here. We then need a walkway that should be about 3.5 feet there. And then our vanity and toilet are going to come out about 24 inches here. And so now I'm going to move the door for the bathroom center. And this is going to be our new bathroom. It's going to be a single vanity sink, but it's okay because we're getting the primary down below. Now to add this bathroom, I'm stacking everything in one section, so everything's staying where it needs to be. My plumbing cost is going down at least 50%, then moving over here. I have very little framing. And the cost extra isn't much because I was already replacing all these doors in my quote. And now I have the floor plan that works with what we saw in the photos. Smaller bathroom, we have our 2-bath, and we have a very desirable family-friendly plan with a 3-bed, 2-bath upstairs.
James, where was I'm sorry if you said it, but where was the plumbing originally?
The plumbing is actually right here where it says 4x12 here. There was one really, really long bathroom here.
Yeah, okay, so it was all in that wall that was in the middle that got torn out.
Yep. And then the plumbing stacks typically, you guys, so like on this side, you're going to have your kitchen that we're going to see over here. This is where a lot of your plumbing is going to be here. And then the laundry room is going to be right below. So if we keep everything in that main area, it allows us to really control the cost.
Was it hard to add a drain for the toilets? Did those have to get rearranged at all?
Those will get rearranged, but that's just PVC piping and drains that they're going to go all in this area. And it's more about the fall of the drains and how far you have to go that are really the complicated, because there needs to be a certain amount of fall for it. So if you put your bathroom in this section where it says other 2, that's where your drains are going to have a lot more fall. They're going to affect your head height, and they're going to be a lot longer run at this point. The shorter the run, the shorter the materials they have to be. You know, their toilets and everything, we're only moving things about 4 to 5 feet in this section.
True, okay, gotcha, thank you.
Can I ask one more question as well? On the showers, I distinctly remember you mentioning on a Bigger Pockets podcast one time to keep your shower to a certain length. Because that means that you don't have to spend extra on it becoming custom. I'm trying to remember what that length was.
So it's a standard shower door. So your standard shower doors are gonna come in 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
Now, that shower door is gonna cost me $500 for this. If I put this, let's say I'm like, I want to make my bathroom a little bit bigger for this main floor. This goes to 4.5 feet. My shower door just goes to $2,000 at that point. And so we always try to plan our spaces at 5, 4, 4, 5, and maybe 6, because we can get standard size doors. You guys, the more standard you can stick to, the drastically will drop your pricing. And so, yeah, that is definitely a little hack people don't think about. I got on my team, I'm like, no more custom showers unless they're huge, they're big, and they're spa-like, then it's okay. You know, it does. Newport Beach, I spent $20,000 on my shower door because we did a steam shower, we did all this stuff. It was really big, but it was worth it, right? This house, not gonna be worth it. And so let's pull up the second plan. All right, so now we have our floor plan that works. We're not spending a bunch more money. And you guys, if I only have to do this, I'm actually going to be looking fairly good on my budget at this point. I'm going to go, okay, well, I didn't move a lot of walls around. $100,000 with what my initial thought was. I needed to add that bathroom. That's okay. I can do all this. So now we're going to go to the second floor. So why did my budget go up? Let's pull this one up now. Now we're going to go down to the kitchen level. So what we do know is we have to open, the comps that we saw had an open floor plan kitchen. Okay. So you guys, open floor plan kitchens doesn't mean it has to be, we got to achieve the concept. And we want to look at, okay, how much do we need to do that for? What's the pricing of the house? Because in this specific property, it could cost dramatic difference in what that cost could be, because we have a giant chimney sitting in the middle of that open concept. And to drop that chimney is going to be about $5,000. In addition to, that's where our furnace systems and everything are tied into, which is going to require me to replace all the furnace system throughout. So let's pull this main floor. And we're talking about how we're going to lay this out in a cost-effective way and still get. Can you guys see it now, right here? Oh, it says paused. It's in the same pause, so we're going to do it again. So on the main floor here, we can see you come down the stairs from your bedrooms. We have our living room. We have a giant kitchen through this section. And then we have an oversized right here. We want to look at what's the sizes on space. So right now, you guys, our dining room is a foot, almost 2 feet bigger than our kitchen on width. That is a waste of space. And how we maximize these things is we want to get our kitchen bigger. Like our dining room, as we look at this, goes, okay, well, this is awkwardly big. It's almost 12 feet. No one needs that. And so we want to maximize our kitchen space without spending a lot of money. And we can trade some things off by not taking out that fireplace. So we're going to pull that up right now. And we're going to talk about how we're going to cost effectively lay out this kitchen. Now we know we need to It's not usually how I label things, but we're moving quick. So on the main floor here, you come down, we need an open concept. What we want to stay away from, if we can, is we want to make sure that we have the space. We have 10 feet wide here, and then we have this giant chimney that could trigger 5,000 to 6,000 in cost. First thing we want to do is we want to look at where's the structure. So you guys, through here, there's some main structural coming through here, and it ties into this fireplace here. So if I demo out this chimney, it's going to cost 3,000 to 4,000 roughly. I'm going to have to replace my furnace. And then in addition to, I'm going to have to install a giant glulam beam to hold this structure up, which is going to cost about $5,000 for this area. So if I want to take out that chimney, I'm looking at about $12,000 in cost, which I'm not going to see back in the pricing, because all we need to do is achieve that open concept floor plan. That's the goal. Get it open, make it entertaining. Will it be better if this fireplace is gone? Yes, it will have better flow, but it's not worth the $12,000, because a lot of what we were seeing, the homes weren't totally perfected, and we can still get the spaces that we want. So right now we have a 10-foot long kitchen, you guys. That is pretty small, because 10 feet is really 8. You're going to lose 2 feet when you put your cabinets in right here. So we need to expand that. That's where we go, okay, well, how much can we cheat over? Because again, we have 11 feet in this section, almost 12. We can comfortably bring this over 3 feet and still make our dining room size a full dining room size at that point. We're now at 8 feet wide. That's plenty of room for a table, a slider. They can get out to their back door. And so now we're able to increase this by 3 feet more to make our kitchen a lot grander and a lot bigger. And then how do we play around this fireplace? And if I need to take it out, I'm going to take it out, but I'd like not to spend $12,000 taking it out. We can create our open concept through here to where now we kind of have, you come in your front door, this is open. We have a island that comes through. We're going to demo out this wall here, which is non-structural because it stays on this load point. And we have this kind of weird dead space in here. And so now what we can do is we can stack our cabinets on this, and we can make this more of a feature point. These cabinets are going to be 2 feet wide. We're going to add another bank that's 2 feet. And then we also still have time for an overhang, or not time, room of 12 inches here. And it keeps us flush. Those are things, you guys, we want to think about symmetry as we're laying things out. Does it lay out? We don't want things in random zones. We don't want things in its own little world. We want it to feel smooth all the way through. So now when someone comes in their front door, this is now wide open. They have some vaulted ceilings in here. They have a cool fireplace. And now we're playing into this fireplace to where we have the open concept. We have a big oversized kitchen here that comes through. It is now 13 feet long by 8, plus a bigger island. And we have the right rooms and the right spaces. So this is fairly easy. The one thing that we're missing though, and it's kind of awkward right now, is as you come in, this kind of looks weird, right? You're going, okay, well now you have your kitchen island. It's kind of, you know, it's open, so it's a little bit bigger, but it's still kind of weird. You have like an island here. You want to be able to kind of hide your range a little bit. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add a coat closet here, because we're also missing that on the main floor. We're going to put our coat closet here. So now it's not too open and weird. This is still wide open. People can see through. Our sink's going to go here because we always want that to go towards, we always want the sink facing the exterior. We're going to put our dishwasher in this section here, because you guys, when you always want your dishwasher right next to your sink, just for flow and purposes, but then also just for cost effectiveness, your plumbing fishes right over. Our fridge is going to go in this section because we want to think about that triangle, right? How are people going to live and eat and use this? And then our range here is now going to go to a downdraft range, because we have the room to where we don't need a vent and it can be centered in this area. And they have their fridge, their range, their sink, their dishwasher. This is your triangle that we're trying to achieve. or that's a kind of a triangle. So they have flow through that kitchen. In addition to, we're accomplishing it because we're still opening up this area and we're opening up this dining room to where there can be entertaining space that flows all the way through. And by doing this plan, I have moved 0 beams. That's the big key on this. If I want to knock this out, which would make it feel a lot better, it's going to cost me $12,000. It's going to add more permit times, and I don't see any value in it. So now the main floor makes sense. You come in, we got the floor plan we need. We now have the primary upstairs. And right now, I would still be pacing at that $100,000 budget. And you guys, this was a house I wanted too. And I was like, okay, I want it. It's easy. It's simple. Just let me grab the basement now. And it froze again. So we're gonna. What's up? And now we have the basement level. So right now we got a 3-bed, 2-bath. We need a 4-bed, 3-bath to get the value out of it. And we have to have a very usable. Here we go. This is the basement. We need to have a basement that has access and has the right rooms to be able to entertain a small family. And so you guys, when people have small families, they want to have the extra space, right? Parents hang up top, kids go in the basement, and they get that separation of space. So this is where the problem started happening. As I got to the bottom floor, I'm going, oh crap, this is not good. And we're going to talk about that. Because other than that, it's fairly simple. Yep.
Your screen is blacked out.
All right, turn back on. So what happens, you guys, you buy fancy camera equipment and then it doesn't quite work right. All right. So we're going to pull up now the main floor or the basement floor. Grab this. This is where the awkwardness starts. Go. All right, so you guys, this is the bottom floor. So right now we have the right bed bath count upstairs. Didn't have to spend too much money. I can stay in budget. Then we have, technically in the basement, we have a bedroom here. So that gets us to our 4th bedroom. And this is where people will make some mistakes. And they go, oh, I got my 4-bedroom and I got this laundry bathroom here, which is 7 feet by 7'11". Now this really has a toilet, a washer dryer in it, and it doesn't have a shower. So we need to add that shower. It is the most cost-effective thing to put the bathroom in that section. And that's what we were planning on when we were looking at the photos all the way around. We go, okay, we have a good floor plan here. Typically, this space is the easiest space in a tri-level. It's kind of laid out. You can put it back together, but there's some major issues with this floor plan right here. The major issues. So as you come down your stairs, this here, you guys, we want to think about where is your backyard? Because as I'm going out in a family neighborhood, we have this cool big backyard, but there's no access really to it. The only access is you come down, You go into this laundry bathroom and then you go into your yard up the stairs. Doesn't feel really good. You got to go through a hole to get to your yard. And there I go. I froze again, didn't I? You know what we're going to do? We're going to switch to this. There we go. We're going to the other not fancy camera. Okay, so as we do this, share the screen, back up. So the access for here, and these are things we have to think about. We weren't planning on, okay, well, the only access to our backyard is through a bathroom. Not great. The other issue is in this bathroom is we got a washer dryer here. Then we had a toilet here. And we have to get that third bath in this space. The only way for us to get the third bath was to put it in kind of this section here, which was going to eliminate the door getting to your outside if we wanted to be cost effective. Now, if I'm targeting a price of $950,000 for this house, I can leave this the way it is. The toilet, the washer dryer, it can go out through this way. I'm covered. But we need to get a lot higher out of this. We're targeting $1.1 million to $1.05 million. And so the space here, which is the most cost-effective space for us to lay out our bathroom and laundry, is not a great space for it. And if I leave it there, my value is going to go down to $950 to $975 because I can't get my third bath. I don't have access to the backyard, lack of egress. It doesn't sell. Every other property in that range had egress coming out through that basement. Even though our plumbing stacks are all in this section here, it's way cheaper to leave it here. This is where we have to go, okay, well, if we want to achieve this price, what do we need to do to get it over in there? So the first thing we want to do is create a bonus area that gets access to the backyard. So what we're going to be doing is we are wiping out this whole section. The bathroom, the laundry, the walls, they all got to be opened up. Now, the main structure for the house is running through this section in here. So I'm not touching this wall here because if I do, I have to start putting in beams. But this here was just a non-load bearing wall. We can wipe this out. And now we have this giant bonus room in here that gives access out to the backyard. So now a family can come down, they can have a party, and they can make their way out to the yard. We might even put a little wet bar in here if we can get it in our budget. So then they have a wet bar, they can take their drinks out to their cool deck, they can use it here. It makes it very, very livable. The issue being now is we're on a slab and that's going to trigger cost. That's why I had to get this price down at $780, and I'll grab the Performa, and a 1.1 price and a 130 budget doesn't work really well. And so even though I love this house, I love the location, I love the style, I love how simple it is, I have to put the right plan. I can't force that plan. So now what we're doing is how do we maximize this space? Well, we have 15 feet here, and I know I can bring the bedroom to 12 feet. That now gives me 3 plus 4, so this gives me 7 feet in this section through here. And in a smaller basement bedroom, guys, I'm probably going to move it to 11 because we don't really need the 12. A smaller bedroom's okay for that fourth bedroom.
You said 12 is the minimum you do for a primary. What's the minimum you do for just like a regular bedroom?
It depends on what the comps have, but typically we don't go any smaller than 10 by 10. It starts to get a little tight. Now, you guys, if I know there's some rooming house investors in here, if I'm doing rooming houses, I'll go 8 by 10, 8 by 9, because we're stacking them in there. So it really depends on what we're trying to accomplish. But upstairs, we have 3 really good bedrooms. We got 2 bathrooms, good spaces. And in here, what I can do is I can actually bring this in and still not really affect too much of the space because we got to get a closet in there too. So I can actually make this section here 4. And if I bring this down to 11, that now gives me 8 feet wide in this section. I can still bring my wall here for the bedroom And the one thing is, for you guys, when we create bedrooms, we want to create space. What we don't want it to feel like is a door room, right? So we want to create hallways. If I just stack my bedroom doors in here, it's going to feel like a door room as you come down through here. And so when I'm laying out a new bedroom, I was like, okay, what's the flow of the access? They're going to come down the stairs. We need to create a hallway to this bathroom. Don't like how that line looks. We're going to do it again. Just our hallway right here. Now someone can come in, they can go inside their bedroom. They're not inside the party room. I don't like to ever put my doors unless I'm making like a flex space here and doing like French doors and opening up. So now I got bedroom 4 here. I now can put my tub in this section in here. We can put the doorway through here. And we can get a vanity. We'll probably go double vanity in this section. And then we'll have room to put a toilet right here.
And then are you always doing closets in every bedroom? Like for this one, where would you account for your closet?
So the closet, I'm going to put, because as a jog, that's why I'm going to allow my bathroom to go a little bigger. I can play into this and level it out. So someone can come in and we can now frame this closet in here. So the room is still symmetrical at this point. They come into a hallway. They got a closet in this section. The tub recesses back to get us a better bathroom in here. And then we still have an 11 by 11 square footprint. So the bedroom feels normal sized. When we're laying out bedrooms, guys, we want to try to stick in squares and rectangles if we can. When you have all these weird jogs, it starts to throw people off. But so in this space, we have our closet. You walk in, your closet access is going to be through here. Here's our new tub in this section. And then here's our double vanity in here. The one thing, what's the one space that we're missing in this house right now, guys?
Laundry?
We don't got a laundry room. And so by moving this over now, though, here's our new laundry. So now we have a very formal layout in here. We've taken this oversized bedroom bonus area. We were able to move the bathroom over here. We have a normal sized bedroom, and now we have a room that swings in this way where we can stick our washer dryers. So everything is where it needs to be. So the negative thing about this though, guys, why did my budget have to go up? If I can keep my bathroom over by this door, I'm spending very little money on plumbing. I don't have to add in drain lines. I don't have to do any trenching. All the plumbing's running through one section of the house. Now, in this area, I have to trench in all the way through. And this is where the cost we want to account for. If I want that perfect plan, I got to trench all the way through to my main stack in this area here. I got to cut up this slab, bring it all the way through. That's going to be about $2,000 to $3,000, probably about $2,000 for the demo and the concrete repair. Then we have to run plumbing pipe and they have to dig this deeper. The further away you are from your main stack, the more your plumbing cost is going to be. And so now they have to trench up this slab, bring everything over here. And now I'm moving all my plumbing in this section or this section over in here, which is going to blow up my plumbing quote. And so to move the bathrooms and everything over here, it triggers a lot of costs. I got my 2 main floors done very cost effectively. They're going to be inside my budget. This is what's blowing up the budget. The reason it's blowing up is I probably have $5,000 in for plumbing and trenching for this long. I have to replumb this entire section and rerun everything over. I then have to do a lot more framing than it was before, where I could just kind of leave an open bonus room. I got a frame wall here. I have to frame it here, frame it here, frame it here. This basement's actually getting more framing than the entire 2 floors together upstairs. And so this costs us about $4,000 to $5,000 in framing costs. And then I start putting in the other, we're demoing out all these walls in here. So this plan now, by moving all this stuff over, is now costing me about $10,000 in cost, plus some permit times and delays. And what it also does, you guys, when you start moving things around, these are things you want to think about. When you start taking bathrooms and everything moving over, this house actually has some copper plumbing in it, and it's not bad. If you keep everything where it is, you can fish right into it. Like I can take a copper plumbing line, put in new valves on that. They work fine. And I don't have to replumb this entire house. But once I start moving everything around and moving the primary bath around, I went from doing a partial replumb, which was going to be about 5,000 to 6,000, into a plumbing price that's going to be about 15,000 to 16,000. And so my plumbing went up by 10,000. My framing, my trench work, all that went up by another 10,000, plus an extra month or two in my hold times for permits and what I have to do. And that's why there's $30,000 in costs. But this $30,000 in costs is what got me to profitability on this deal. It wasn't that I could, and this is where we don't want to do. We can go through a house and go, oh, hey, this house feels good. It looks good. It's cool. It's got 4 beds, 3 bath. I'm going to sell it for the same amount. That's not what's going to happen on this house. And so we have to implement that right plan. The right plan was going to cost 130, whereas I can do about 90 to 100 the other way. And so we have to evaluate that and put that into our spreadsheet at that point. Pull this up. We're going to pull the spreadsheet.
James, can I ask a quick question? You were talking about the fall of the drain. Like, what exactly does that mean?
It means, so your main stacks, you guys, so when you have a drain line and it's got to tie into a main stack, the plumbing has to run on a slope or your shit's just going to get backed up and sit there in the middle of your house. And so the farther away it is, the farther the fall has to go, because they have to start at a point, but they're all starting with the same starting point at the bottom of, let's say you're replumbing that shower. Or let's say this bathroom right here. Our toilets and tub are right here. So we have to get this to fall all the way over about 20 feet this way. And there needs to be 1 inch of fall per foot. Or 1/2 inch of fall per foot. So we're going to have to dig way deeper down and have the plumbing go way down, which is going to require the plumbers to work a lot harder. There's going to be a lot more repair work at that point. If I put my bathroom here and I got to trench down, I only have to move it 2 feet. So it's a lot easier to repair. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, it can affect things, guys. And you want to think about that too on your floor plans, because if I was putting that bathroom in the other section of the house, like we were talking about, the plumbing's going to have to come through that ceiling on a fall, and it can drop my ceiling heights by 6 to 7 inches. And so we always want to try to stick that plumbing in that same section, because it can affect your head height. It can affect your flow and costs. So on this property, guys, it was 700, actually 760,000 is what I paid for it. We had a budget of $100,000 when I was looking at it. I had it at 6 months, and I thought this thing was going to sell for 1.1 million, just by surface underwriting before we got there. This is a great deal at that point. It's a cosmetic fixer. I thought I got a great deal. I'm like, all right, 760. We're going to add a bathroom. We're going to update everything. We've done 100 of these very, very quick. We can get it done faster. And I thought it was going to be done in about 4 months or 5 instead of 6. This looked like an ultimate home run cosmetic deal. Okay, we're making $109,000 on it. This is great. But after walking it, and if we did that rehab plan at 100,000, the value of the house was actually going to be 940. Which now this goes in to a loss of $38,000 on this house. So it went from a home run to, if I stick with the plan that I originally thought I could do for 100 grand, I'm going to lose 40 grand. That doesn't work. I'm sorry, you guys, these are the wrong numbers. Hold on. We had this originally, they offered this to me as 795. 100, and I thought it was worth 1.1, but on cosmetic deal. So this was, this deal was a 30% return, very easy. We can do it 4 months, get in and out. That's my plan. That's why I liked it so much. Fast deal. After we walked it, the $100,000 rehab plan was going to get us at 940, which was now going to make us lose 74,000, the offer that they brought to us. So what happens a lot of times, you guys, is people go, oh, this is a bad deal. I can't buy this. I move on, right? And so for us, we went back and go, okay, well, let's rebudget out the house. We know that we're going to be at 130 now on the rent after walking it. We, after comping the house, we think it's worth 1.1 to 1.15. And if we pay $795,000, we're going to make a 12.6% return, 34 grand profit. That deal does not work. That is against our buy box. And so by doing this, we had to educate the sellers and the brokers that brought us, say, hey, dude, this is what we got to work with. This is why our rehab's more. We had to adjust our number down to 760, which got us back to that 27.3% return. And so what I'm trying to drive home here is, guys, like, you can look at a house, you can look at the comps, you can have the same bed bath count, but if you don't put the right plan together, you're going to sell your house for dramatically, even though same area, same finishes, wrong spaces. Comps were at 950 or 1.1. And what we don't want to do is get blind and go, oh, we can do this for 100 grand because it's in great shape. We have to really go, how do we make this plan work to achieve the 1.1? If I want 1.1, I got to have the spaces in the right area. It's going to trigger some different costs. And so I know this is a little long, but what I want to do is open this up now and go. And I want to talk about floor plans. Who's having problems with budgets? Who has problems with these questions, or questions about how to reduce costs in your layouts and start working with the livability and flow? See what we got.
I have a question.
What do you got?
Actually, I can put my hand up if there was someone else.
No, you're on the hot seat. You went.
Okay, cool. One issue I'm having is even just figuring out which walls are the structural ones, especially in a house where they've made additions over the years. Like, how are you kind of figuring that out and budgeting for, like, because it's like I have to open up the kitchen here, and I don't know whether to account for a beam or leave posts in place, or like how to kind of figure that out quickly.
Like how to kind of look where the structural is, or whether you should leave a beam or a post, or do beam or post.
I mean, any of the above. Like, it's like, okay, well, I mean, beams or posts, I'd imagine I'd look at comps, but like even figuring out if it's structural, to like try to figure out my rehab budget quickly.
Okay, let me go over a plan right here. I'll show you kind of how we know where the structure's at.
And I have a floor plan that I shared in the chat if it helps.
Oh yeah, we can pull that up. Actually, let's pull up yours. We don't need to look at mine. But there's definitely ways to go. You guys, so question of, okay, so how do you reduce opening up the structural wall? Well, you leave a post. When you have a post in there, it's a smaller beam, it's less of an install. It's going to usually cost you about 50% less on that beam. When do you leave a post and not? Well, you have to look at those comps in there. Like, we will leave posts in kitchens half the time, and sometimes we won't, depending on the price point that we're trying to achieve. You know, if we can leave a post and we're like, hey, well, they get a post, but they're buying this house for 900 grand and other things are $1 million, then we're fine with it. If we're going for that optimal pricing, we're going to budget in for that beam. I'm going to show you guys a little trick for getting your beam cost down, though, after we're done doing this. So let me pull up the chat. Who thinks, I want people to guess, how much does opening a beam cost, or opening a wall cost for a beam? What's the cost of that beam? So if you want to open it 10 feet wide, just like this here, in this house, see this house? See that beam coming through? Right? I want people to guess how much that costs.
I thought it was around 10K for that length.
10 grand. How much does the wood cost? 15 grand. I see another 15 grand. Who knows how much the beam costs? That's what I'm going to teach you guys on how to negotiate structural shit down to fucking nothing. Because you guys, what happens is these contractors go, oh, we got to put a beam in. This is a big deal. And you're like, yeah, this is a big deal. I got to put a beam in. You're going to be shocked how much this beam costs. You guys, this beam right here is $750.
You need to get Raleigh on your project. He's saying he can get it for 600.
Hey, it might be 600. I just, I always mark my shit up, Raleigh. I mean, don't work for free. But you guys, and then think about that, right? So when I'm negotiating this with that contractor, I'm going, okay, so we got to put a beam in. I get what you're saying. That's a lot of work. So you gave me a quote of 10,000. I don't say anything about the beam first. I go, so it's going to take you about a half day to put that beam in at most, right? Yeah, half day. Okay, so half day. How much you pay your framers? 50, 60 bucks an hour? Let's say we pay them $100 an hour, which is huge. I'm paying a framer $100 an hour for 5 hours. That's 500 bucks times 2. That's $1,000 in labor cost. The beam is 600 bucks according to Raleigh. It's $1,650 for the real true cost of that beam for that general, but they're quoting you 10. And so when I'm negotiating with guys, I'm not going, oh, that's too much. I'm going, hey man, I got a question. So I know this beam's expensive. I know it's a pain. I back them into a corner by going, hey, so how many guys is it going to take to install that? And how long do you think that will take? I don't know, 2 guys, half day. Okay. You guys, to find out that cost of the beam, you don't need to be me. You don't need to be Raleigh. You use Google. So let's do a 10-foot blue lamb beam. Depending on the size of the beam, that does change things, guys. But let me show you something real quick, you guys. This is when you become ninjas with construction. Because again, when I'm talking to my general, I'm not going, oh, this is way too much. I'm like, dude, you got to help me out here. This is a big change order. I wasn't anticipating this. I'm totally fine being fair and paying for whatever I need to pay for. But so here's a 3.5 by 15 blue lamb beam. This is 280 bucks. You guys, you can call your lumber yards and just get quotes on it, but you can also just use it. So let's do a 10-foot by 2-foot blue lamb beam. Actually, we'll do 4-foot. This is a monster beam right here. There's Home Depot, right? This is going to be more than most places for this stuff. Oh, where did my blue lamb beams go? Ah. Home Depot's being a little weird. Keeps kicking me to delivery. But as we can see, you guys, like, here's a, okay, this thing's kind of jumping all over the place. Home Depot. You guys, the cost of the beam is not very much money. And so when we're negotiating, I'm just saying, hey, dude, I'm fine being reasonable. Hey, what do you pay your framers an hour? 50 bucks an hour. Okay, well, let's do $100 an hour. You're doubling your labor cost at this point. And I'm cool with that. But if it's going to take them 5 hours, 2 guys, that's $2,000 in labor cost at most. And then the cost of these beams are, you know, right here. Here's a 4x10, you guys, fir beam. This is a big beam here. That's 380 bucks. it's not that expensive. Your typical beam cost is going to be between $5 and $1,000 at most to open up a kitchen wall. And that's how we can negotiate things down. It's just doing a way like, hey man, you got to help me out. Like, can you wrap my brain around this? Like I was getting quotes in Newport Beach for a beam and a wall from some framers, and they were quoting me like 20 grand. And I hired these framers directly with labor, bought the beam out there, and it cost me like $3,000 to put the beam in to open a wall 22 feet long. And so when you're talking to the generals, just talk to them and say, hey man, I can't pay this much. I'm totally about being reasonable. If I'm missing something here, let me know. You know, and they might say, well, we got to drop 2 footings in. Okay, well, those footings are $500 a pop. But it still shouldn't be $10,000 to $15,000. And you guys, those are things you want to educate yourself on when you get this pricing. Because to your point, like I was the same way, like, oh, that's $10,000 to open up that wall. But then you really start breaking it down and you're going, no, it shouldn't be. But if we think it's going to be 15,000 or 10,000, they give us 8, we're going, hey, we got a great deal here. And those things matter across the board. And so just educate, and it doesn't take much. You don't need to know, just think logically, like, okay, how much is the labor cost? How many hours would that take? Let me see what the materials cost. This is roughly the cost in here. And if it's in that range, I'm cool with it. But if it's 3 times, 4 times the range, I'm not cool with it. And so, but let me pull up your plan. And you guys, I was talking to Tyler actually, who's he's done a lot of flips with us. He's been in the group for a while, and he was going over some pricing stuff with him. And he was telling me what he was saying to the guys to try to get the price down, and he wasn't having much luck on this one specific item. And so, how would you guys feel? I ran this by Tyler. If we did an objection day where contractors are over budget, you guys are throwing me whatever you're getting in the field, and I tell you how I pivot and try to get that price down. I think we're going to do that where it's just one of the open question nights. It's just all, hey, this is the problem. This is what they're telling me. And then how do we logically bring that down and look, you know, not look bad. So here, Nicole, so you guys, your main structure's in the house. How do we know if it's structure or not? So this house right here, we can see there's one clean line coming through this entire center of the house, right? This is going to be your main load point on this house here. Does that make sense? So you guys, we always want to look at where are the major load points. We don't see any other continuous lines going through this house much in these sections. And so this is going to be the main structure that we're going to work inside. Here's the hallways. You guys, most of the time houses are built, the hallways and bedrooms are built off the main structure. And that's what we do in the basements to keep costs down, right? We want to frame inside the structural walls if we can. Now, if the spaces are bad, we'll put the beams in. But your main structure is coming through the center of your house here. And so as we're looking at designing this floor plan, what we want to try to stay away from is making any adjustments to this main zone as much as possible. You can pop a doorway and that's fine, but we don't want to start opening up this section in here, right? And nor would you, because it goes to bedrooms, luckily. But we want to kind of stay away, or this would require a beam through here. This is going to be on your corners where it kind of ends. You guys, this is typically going to be your main footing point here. And so you kind of want to look at, okay, where does this stop? Where does it end? And it's typically going to be up the center, or they're going to be running across this way. One thing that really helps, guys, is if you do have a basement that's unfinished, you can go into that basement and look up, and you're going to see the posts and the beams running through. And that's how we design our floor plans to kind of, you guys, what we want to do is try to design the plans inside the main structure of the house. It will reduce your framing costs by nearly 100% if you can. Because buying 2x4s and slamming them in is a lot cheaper and a lot faster than bringing in beams and moving them and twisting them all around. We want to be conscious of that. Now, if you have to spend the money to get the price out of it, you got to spend the money. And so that's why it's really important to look at these after floor plans and go, do I have the spaces that the comps have? Is it the same big open kitchen? Is it the same big open bonus? Are the bedrooms the right sizes? Those are the things we want to pay attention to, because if you can't undercut it, or you need to bring your value down.
Can I ask a couple more questions about that floor plan?
I got
Oh,
no
sorry.
other hands up, so you can keep going right now.
Oh, I was gonna interrupt you and ask questions about the same floor plan, but go on.
So like this house, they have made like unpermitted additions, and that big open space you see in the top right corner, the back of the house is unpermitted. So there is a wall there that used to definitely be the exterior wall of the home. So I would imagine it's load bearing. And it is one of the ones that we would like to take out to open that kitchen up. So, but I mean, I don't know if I really have a question because it sounds like I should just negotiate putting a beam in there.
Well-
Possibly, you know, I mean, one thing that you guys want to think about too is what's the market that you're in. So one thing that you're going to hear Nicole immediately is they want to put in steel beams in California. They love fucking steel beams. I don't know why.
Yeah, we
I
saw
put
it
a wood
in
beam
Fox.
in mine, I had to argue it, and they're like, all right, fine, we'll put the wood in. But so on your floor plan right here, then Nicole, these are posts, right?
Posts, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, and that's your addition, this recreation room, is that right?
The
Yeah.
whole dang thing you're looking at there, that family room and rec room.
Okay, so what do you want to put in these spaces here?
Nothing.
Basically,
So when you go to the kitchen, if you scroll down
dining
and go
area.
to the kitchen and dining area, that we really want to open up and make a nice big kitchen. So we'd like to open up these walls that are holding this kitchen in. So you walk into this living room and you are very closed off from like the kitchen, and we'd like to make that kind of open there.
Okay, and you're saying this
Well-
living room was an addition tier two?
No,
that's
that's
part of the
original.
main house.
Okay,
I
but
guess
you
our
want,
debate here is like, so you enter through the porch there and then you're in that living room, which is basically like a main entrance. And then there's kitchen dining area. The kitchen dining area we want to open up so it's like a full open concept flow. But what we're debating is, should we take out both of those walls enclosing the kitchen dining area, or just one, or put a beam and leave one wall, like the whole area enclosing the kitchen dining area?
okay, you're talking about kitchen. Okay.
That
Kitchen.
little box kitchen dining area, we want to either remove one or two of those walls.
You know, but I don't think this is a lot of structural coming off through here.
But everything
Yeah,
on
I mean,
the
it
other
was
side of
the
that
ex-
is the addition.
Yeah,
Everything
above
that
that
used to
is
be
the
addition.
that used to be the exterior of the house, that wall that you're erasing right now.
Okay, right here.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That's where this is the exterior.
Yeah. This used to be the exterior, the family room and the great room.
Okay, and your
The
span is,
family room and
so this is only 10 feet wide, is that right?
no, 14.7. So you're
Okay.
you're looking at 50, almost 15 feet across, and then 9 and 10, like 10 and 10. So you're looking at about 15 by 20 almost.
Yeah, then this will be, if this is exterior wall, that's for sure structure.
Right.
I mean, that one, I think you just need to put the beam in. It's I mean, so there's ways, ways to reduce beam cost too, right? It's the size of beam, they cost more, right? Or if you go too far, it can trigger steel, or it can trigger different types of footings. So things that you can do to reduce your beam costs, though, let's say if you're arguing or negotiating, you can cut it back to the cabinet depth. And you're cutting off 4 feet of beam span at that point, you guys. That's like a little small thing that can have bigger impact. Oops, now I'm just deleting everything.
Right, so
So
do 2 feet of cabinet on either side, and then the beam becomes 4 feet shorter.
yeah, so by keeping the
Okay.
stem wall here, I've just reduced my span by 40%. Or no, it's 14 feet. So I just reduced it by like 20% of a span, which will shrink your beam size, and it will shrink the cost of that beam and the install. There's other things that you want to think about, like in Seattle, if we go too far, it triggers a different types of permit too. So half the time when we're designing it that way and cheating it in, it's just to make sure that the span's not too far to trigger a different type of substantial renovation permit. And so that would be something I've talked to the architect about too, because adding the stem wall doesn't really matter. It's just hiding your cabinets. And you still get that open concept through here. So you reduce your beam costs. It might reduce your permit timelines. And ask your architect, does it matter if the beam span is 14 feet or 10? If they go, yeah, you don't want to be above 10 or 12 feet, or triggers a review, then you definitely want to put the stem wall in. But also with your contractor, when they give you that quote, keep that in your back pocket. Don't just, because we don't ever want to throw this all, we don't want to throw all the options at the contractor right away. It's going, okay, I want this open. Let me get the price. Then we can start negotiating backwards and go, okay, well, 15 grand, that's a shit ton more. You said 10. 10 grand is a lot more than I was thinking it was going to be. You know, I got a question. I don't know if I want to do this at that price. You know, I mean, how many days is it, how many hours is it going to take to get this thing open? You know, and then do what I talked about, working it with the hour and the cost of beam and be like, okay, you know, so I'm looking at this and I don't think it should be 10,000, but you know, what if we brainstorm and I bring in these walls 2 feet each, that reduces 20% of the span. Do you think I can drive that cost way down? You know, whereas I go to the contractor and go, hey, is it going to be more to open it all the way or put the 2 feet wall in? We're playing all our cards up front. And so keep that on the back burn as a way to negotiate, because the contractor also wants to win a little bit there. Like, oh, I can't drop my price from 10 to 5 all of a sudden. But now I can drop it down to 5 because you gave me the 2 feet and, you know, the shrinks the beam down. So now I can do that. They don't really want to be called out. So you want to do it in a nice way.
Got it.
I guess one more question. Since there are those 2 walls there enclosing the kitchen, if you had to choose between opening up the wall, so you come in and there's the main entrance and then there's the kitchen. So either the main entrance is going to be fully open to the kitchen or the kitchen's going to be fully open to that family room. Which one do you think is a better, like aesthetically, which one do you think is better to have an open concept from the main entrance or into the family room if we have to choose one of those 2 walls? Like you erased a wall, but
Yeah. So I erased a wall that went like this, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So either if you did erase that wall, then you have an open concept all the way to the family room from the kitchen. But if you erase the other wall, then you'd have an open concept from the entryway into the kitchen.
You know,
which
with
one
how this kind of
aesthetically-
house sets out, because you kind of have the beach and stuff off the backside of the house, right?
The beach?
Or walkability to the beach. The beach is to the south side or up here, right?
No,
Front side?
you're,
Beach this front
the-
side, I would say.
yeah, the back, and there is no real backyard. It's kind of going to be more like a barbecue dining area. The front yard is actually really the yard, and then there's a little courtyard off this dining area right here, the dining kitchen area. There's a cute little courtyard right here as well. Because your garage is kind of just to the right of the living room, so there's a courtyard right here to the right of the dining and kitchen area.
Over in this section.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this whole section by the dining and kitchen has a cute little courtyard.
Okay. I don't know if this is a structural wall in the front though. I know this is if it was an exterior wall.
Right.
I don't know if this is right here. And I think you could, you know, what I would minimum do, you know, if it's me, I want my front door, I want this to be more open coming through.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
first impression, so it doesn't feel all claustrophobic. But then
Yeah.
again, I don't know if this is going to be structural as much right here. This will, because it was the exterior. So I think you might be able to get
Yeah.
both open.
Okay.
And then I had a quick question about how you would lay this kitchen out as well. Like I had the same thought. I was like, okay, if we do cabinets on both sides, but then it's like, do we need an island? It kind of makes it maybe too narrow. I
Yeah,
just kind of trying to think through that.
Yeah, island's going to be no good in this because you got 14 feet. Then you got 2 feet off each side. So you're really at 10.
10.5, yeah.
And then if you put an island in, that's going to be 2. I mean, you can maybe squeeze one in. I don't think it, I mean, because then you're going to get some very claustrophobicness in here.
Okay.
Because once you start framing things around, you're going to have like a 3.5 foot walkway, which gets really narrow. And I would keep it a little bigger. If anything, I would do a peninsula over that at that point. Just to not, I'd rather have an island, but you just don't have the space.
Right.
And so, you know, I would add like a little peninsula that goes out so then people can kind of hang off the family room this way. I mean, you could even add one here if you wanted to where it's like, at least people come in. I mean, they don't need to sit in their living room on their kitchen, so I'd probably get rid of this one. But, you know, that way, if people are kind of hanging out for flow, and actually, I wouldn't put it on that side. I would put it on this side because
The other thing just to keep in mind as you're doing this, there is a door kind of right somewhere here that I want to almost keep because it's a cute, like a really, like you could kind of walk out that to that cute little courtyard from
Right
the
here,
kitchen
right?
too and have like a coffee. Well, no, there's another one right
On the
here
kitchen
in
side
the,
too.
on
Right
this right side wall.
Right below the blocks you just drew, there's like French doors
Yeah.
right there.
right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
There's gotta go.
okay.
That's chopping your kitchen up really bad. It's like, cause now your kitchen's gonna be this little stubby guy right here, plus this long, and I mean, your real kitchen's gonna look like this. It's gonna be short and awkward and off balance. And I know they're cute, but who gives a shit? They don't flow. So I would almost take those French doors if you like them, stick them on this section of the house.
They're over there too. There's
Okay.
French doors there's French doors right where you're looking, and there's also French doors over here.
I mean, I think they have to. You're just gonna chop your kitchen because your kitchen's 14 by 10, so
It's 14 by 20. That's 14 by 20 what you're doing there.
14 by 20.
Yeah, what you're drawing on is 14 and a half by 20.
That's really big.
Yeah, because it was 10 and 10.
And I know what it.
Let me go
depends on
double check, but
budget.
I'm 90. Yeah.
No, it makes sense because the area right above it is like 19 feet long and it's
Yeah.
almost like.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I had 14 by 10, it said.
Yeah, 14 by 10 there in that dining area, but look down at the kitchen, you had 14 by 10 there too. You had 14 by 9 and a half and
So
14
you're
by 10.
28 feet long
yeah.
here?
No, you're 20 feet long, 19 and a half.
Okay, 19 and a half is 20. Okay.
Yeah, so you got 14 and a half, 14 and 7 across, and then almost 20 going that way, going vertical.
I feel like that's a lot of cabinets.
Yeah.
Lining the whole wall.
Yeah, that's well, there's something you could do. Keep your French doors here. Right? Let's just pretend those are French doors. Okay. You could actually go more like this. And
That's the
drop
peninsula.
an little island this way. And
Oh,
then
and then not
you
do
have
the
nothing on that wall. So there's your flow, right? Because you have 2 feet,
right.
3 feet, you have flow coming through here. You keep your French doors so they can come off this way. You actually do an L, which honestly might look a little better when you come in your front door anyways.
Right.
So you come in, you got a nice long island. You got 14 feet to, yeah, you got plenty of room for this. I mean, it's not going to be the best flow. You're going to probably have 4 feet on both sides. Where you have 2 feet plus, let's say 3 feet for the island for a little overhang. That's 7. That gives you
5.
7, which is about 3.5 on both sides. I mean, honestly.
Wait, did you say two for the cabinets and 3 for the island would be 5, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, 5. And then you're 14, so that gives you 9 feet. So that'll give you 4 feet on both sides, which works. And I think this is a better layout then at that point, because then you keep your French doors. It comes out this way. Honestly, what would look really good is if you put another set of French doors here. So it's like this kind of open kitchen into this cool courtyard.
I think at that point you're in the garage.
Oh,
like,
never
whatever, what we have in
mind. Don't do that. But then they come in, you have your kitchen this way. It's plenty long
Like
this
that.
way. You got your island coming through here. They flow through. You still have access. I actually like this a lot better anyways.
Yeah, I actually
So-
really like that.
All
I
right.
like this as well, but right below the peninsula, there's a door. Would you close off that door? Just to the left of the peninsula? Like,
Here?
yeah, right where you're, yeah, that's a door. Would you
Yeah,
close
this
that off?
needs to be one solid run here. at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait, where's their laundry right here?
I know, I don't know.
That needs to
It's
go.
very interesting. There's a sub panel in that room too. It's very interesting. So there was like the original house, and then they had an addition at some point a long time ago. And then they had this more recent addition up at the top.
Got it. But I think this is a better impression because then you're not looking into some big wide kitchen all the way through. You come in, you see your island this way. You have 4.5 feet on both sides. You keep your French doors, and then it kind of naturally transitions over to here. And then this won't be a peninsula. I would frame this straight up too, by the way.
It framed this straight up all the way.
Yeah, so you have
Okay.
a full L. And then
Okay.
there needs to be like 4 feet, there needs to be 4.5 to 5 feet coming through this section through here.
I mean, yeah, there would have to be, right? Because you've got like that island and you're gonna need to, would you line that that peninsula or like all the way up, all the way to the edge of the island or no?
Well, this isn't a peninsula now. This will just be an L, right? So this
Right.
would be a frame wall. And then I would run your island at this point. I mean, you have a lot of space. I mean, you probably go more like. Let's try. You know. So this gets framed up. There's your L. I mean, I'd run a bigger island because it is an expensive property, but then you could run that island's going to be probably like 8 feet long. Stick it at 8 feet because then it gives you a standard slab and you don't have to cut 2 slabs. Or
8
8
foot
to 10,
island, okay.
deal with a standard size slab because then measure for that. It's plenty big enough. You'll save costs on your fabrication and the install on that.
Okay. Kiara, did you make a note of that?
All of it, yeah.
I can note it down. Yeah. Last question, or yeah, gut check. Going up to the primary bedroom and other bedroom. So this bedroom, the topmost bedroom is by far the nicest. It's the one with the highest ceilings. It's the one that has nice French doors going out to the backyard or back like area. And so what we were thinking about doing, and it has, you'll see 2 sets of doors going to it. It has the door at the end of the hallway, and it also has the door coming off that like living family room situation. Oh, it's getting cut off. I don't know if it's cut off for, I guess the way you copy pasted it, I think it cut off.
Yeah. I mean, I would
Um,
keep your door here. You don't want your door.
Well, yeah. So we're thinking about changing things, and that's what I wanted to get your feedback on.
Because is this going to the primary bedroom?
So this is not the primary right now, right? But it is by far the nicest bedroom. Like the bedroom that's below it, that's currently the primary, is lower ceilinged. It's not as nice. It's not as bright. Like if I were living in this house, I would have wished that this was my primary. So what we were thinking about doing, because it already has an access point from that living room area.
The way you're
was
drawing
that
it right now is exactly what our contractor suggested.
Yep. This is the way to do
Pretty
it.
much, exactly. And we're gonna make that bathroom even, well, actually, no, there's one change here. We were gonna get rid of the hallway there. We're gonna make the bathroom a little bit bigger, make that walk-in closet a little bit into the hallway, and then have the entrance point be off the living room. So there wouldn't be an entry into the bedroom. We would actually take over this hallway space to make the bathroom and walk-in closet a little bigger.
No, you want to keep your access to your primary shouldn't be off a party room.
Okay.
We want to create that space like I was talking about in that basement down there. It
Yep.
makes it flow because this bedroom's still big this way if you really want to cheat it.
My concern isn't the bedroom size. My concern is the bathroom size. Because if we take over the hallway, we could have made the bathroom a bit bigger.
But you can get it
Oh, yeah,
this way.
that's true.
And then this is going to give you an 8x8 bathroom and a 4x8
8.
closet, right? You can tuck toilet room in this section, still keep a good enough primary right here.
Oh, and then just keep the walk-in closet 4x6.
And then you could do, then I put the door here. Yeah, 4x6 should be good, but look at your comps. I would think they
Okay.
would be. And then all of a sudden I'm going, you can do like a massive shower through here, which is always a big.
Yeah, that would be like a 6-foot shower, I think.
A little bit. And then you have your double vanity through here.
So you said you wouldn't have the entrance to a primary bedroom off of a party room. There currently is 2 entrances, either through the hallway or through that quote unquote party room. Would you close off the entrance from the party room?
Yep, I would frame it straight in. So then we're creating a formal, you guys, and that's what we want to think about with flow. Like, how is it living, right? Like if someone's going through a house and they're coming through and then, they got to go through their kitchen to get to the end of the family room where people could be hanging out. And then they got to go through that family room into their bedroom there. Whereas this gives them privacy with this wall. It's like people can kind of go in, they're now in their bedroom, which is the best space. You got the bathroom, you want to create those sections through here. Ideally, if you can, I'd like to blow this right open.
I know.
This is, then you have natural flow coming through because you don't want people flowing through your kitchen to get to their living space.
So then where would you move
But
the
you know
laundry room?
what-
Because you had pointed out that was weird as well.
The hallway is actually open, so you can walk through that to that laundry room. It's kind of really weird. You can actually there's no like doors. You can just keep walking through to access
Laundry
all
right
of
here.
this.
Because you have so much space off this family room. Then you can go through here. Here's your laundry. Because this is just a giant waste of space. There's too much of it. So then you could have a door. So then everything you guys, the reason I want to do this is like, as you come through, right? You come through your door, living room. We got an office in here. Kitchen's coming through. Where you live is down this way. So the party comes through here in the livability. Now people are coming through. They got a bedroom in this section here. Bedroom 1. Then we got a nice big bath. Then we got another bedroom in here. Then you come down, you got your laundry here because we don't need a family room that's 20 by 20. That is massive. And now instead of people having to go through their kitchen every day to get to their bedroom, they have one clean access line and we're reclaiming the laundry in this space through here. And it doesn't affect the opening because this is a framed up wall anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then
Would you still leave like kind of like an entrance to that hallway off the family room? Because it's kind of like I'm just imagining if you want to go
Oh,
from
yeah.
the family room to the primary now, you got to go all the way around the entire
Yes,
house.
sorry, I went a little too aggressive, but yeah, then you'd have
Okay.
a hallway through here,
Yeah.
right? So then you guys, the flow of the house, you can go through here, there's flow coming through. Whereas before, if we got to go through here, all the way to here to get to our primary.
And one more question. Do you really think it's worth like I get leaving the hallway, that makes sense to me now. Do you think it's worth paying the extra to close off those doors that go into the family room too? Like is
Yes.
it like a negative to just have the option?
Well, think about this. You're trying to sleep, your husband's got friends over, they're all hanging out in that bonus room. Do you want a door and the sound going through and then messing around, or do you want a wall?
Fair point. And actually it would probably be the other way around with me and my husband.
I was just gonna say
Yes, or your husband's sake. And so you guys, when I was going through that, I want to go, how do you live in one big flow circle, right? Like we don't want to go through spaces. That's what we want to avoid is that mazy. And that's why in that shoreline house, I was like, this has to go over here so people can flow out to the outside. But you also want to look at the comps. Like if your comps, they have the same weird flow going through, people don't care, then shit, let's leave it. But, you know, for the price point you guys were talking about in those areas, and again, I haven't looked in detail on those comps, but it lives better the way that we just went over. And there's
Thank
not
you.
that
That
much
was-
moving of walls going on in that section. The you know, you got to move that panel somewhere, but they might be able to just throw it on that wall and kind of go from there. So if you're already
Thank
doing all
you.
that other work, I think it dramatically helps. So
Yeah, that was very
someone
helpful.
had a question in
John.
chat. Does the living room
Sure.
lead to the courtyard? No, there's no way to that courtyard from the living room.
no, the living room's kind of their entry, it looks like. So John, what's going on, bud?
What's up, gang? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, so I have a little bit of a couple questions, a little bit off topic of what we're talking today, but the content today was still really good. I met with a financial advisor who I was talking to about, you know, what I'm trying to do with flipping, and we're talking about kind of like the options for you know, getting capital and hard money lending options. One thing I wanted to ask you, he brought up this idea of a LMA account. Have you heard of it before? It's basically an account if you park cash or stocks or bonds into, you can borrow against those funds that you have in an account. And the rate that you pay is like SOFR plus 2.5 points. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so you invest in the bond, right? So
No,
you
it's not a bond. So like, let's say I have $200,000 in cash that I would be using as a down payment anyway, right? I would be putting that into a project, let's say for like, to be able to qualify for hard money lending. Instead of using the money, that cash, you put that into an account with a brokerage firm, right? And then they basically put that into, another investment where you still get, pretty decent return. And then they let you leverage the funds that are in there and borrow against it.
Okay. so
And the rate that you
basically-
pay, yeah, and the rate that you pay is it's SOFR plus 2.5%. So it's way less than hard money lending.
Okay, and then what line, how much of a line are they gonna give you? So if you put in 100 grand, what happens?
If it's all cash, you can borrow up to, I think, 90%.
Okay, you can borrow up to 90%. So you're putting in 100 grand, they're gonna lever you 90.
And if it's stocks, then I think it's around like 50 to 55%.
Okay,
So you could potentially do a combination of cash and stocks into a leveraged account.
okay, but you're still. Okay, got it. So it's like the bonds are the stocks that you already have and you're just transferring it over rather than.
Correct. Yes.
Well, I mean, you're gonna, the thing I don't like is you're leveraging your down payment, but the thing I do like is what's your tax liability on those stocks if you sell them?
Well, you wouldn't be selling, you don't sell the stocks because they're sitting in that account and you're just borrowing against it. Right,
No,
he
it just
was
would tell
telling
me if I was gonna sell the stocks and invest it instead, cause like how I look at it is, okay. I mean, you're basically just leveraging growth, right? So you have your accounts that are growing through stocks and bonds. You're then transferring those to basically a new investment account, which are going to allow you to lever it up to 50 to 90%, and they're going to charge you SOFR plus 2%. So they're going to charge you interest on the money that you have invested in these other companies and stocks.
Correct.
And so depending on what the growth of that stock or where it was or the tax benefit, let's say I transfer the money over, I don't really have a gain on it, right? It's flat and I'm making 2%, 3% on that money. And now I'm going to lever it plus SOFR plus 2. So I'm going to be paying more than I'm even making in the gain. It really comes down to what's your growth in that asset to me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think the way that I would look at it, it would be more a play with just the cash. So like the cash that I just have sitting in my savings account, that's paying like what, 3.5%, right? You put into this account that you can leverage and it'll still pay you. The money that sits in that account will also get you a return. You're going to earn interest on that while you can still also borrow against it. So it's a pretty unique idea. I've never really heard anyone talking about. So that's why, I kind of want to get your thoughts on, does this make sense? Do you think, was this something that you would consider doing, or would you just, go the traditional path of, just using our HELOCs and hard money lending?
I'm just trying to figure out I mean, I get why you get access to capital, but like, so if let's say, for example, I got 100 grand in my bank account and I'm getting paid 3.5%. Then I move it over to this account and I make it 3.5%, but now I can lever it at SOFR plus 2. So that's gonna be like 7%, right?
Yep.
Why wouldn't I just pull it all out and put it against the real estate property and pay no leverage? Because I'm still paying, I mean, you're still losing 5% on your down payment at that point. Or still, if you're making 3.5 and you're borrowing it at 7, you're losing 4. Whereas I could just put it against the property and have no leverage cost.
Right.
But if it was like an account, let's say it was stocks that I don't want to sell because there's a capital gains, I think that makes sense. On cash, I don't think it makes any sense. Not unless they're going to give you, because you're still putting your cash there and they're only giving you 90% of it. Well, why don't I just, and I got to borrow it. So why wouldn't I just take my 100% of cash and put it against it and have no lever cost?
I guess it came up because he was asking, like, well, what are you doing to invest in these projects, right? And I said, well, it's basically, hard money lending is a pretty common thing that that a lot of investors that are new start off with, and then later on, either using your own capital or raising money, right? There's other vehicles out there, but yeah, I think the idea is that
if they were giving you 150% of the money, like you're putting in 100 and they'll give you lines of credit to 150 at 7, that makes sense. But if they're not giving you extra, you're actually just paying more money on that money. So like if you transfer them 100, they need to give you like 1 to 1.5 to where it's like, no, you're going to give me access to 150 grand in borrowing at SOFR plus 2, because then you would be saving money on that. But if they're not giving you 100% of the boat and they're charging you for it, then it's better just not to use it.
But what about like compared to hard money? Like, does this, if you're looking at hard money versus doing it?
But John, you get no benefit because you still have to put the down payment down. You still have you still have cash you're transferring over.
Yeah.
If they give you 1 to 1, and let's say it's 100 grand, they're giving you 200, it makes sense because you're reducing down, but they're not giving you extra. You're just paying leverage on money that's sitting in their account. Because that money, unless they're giving you more money, you're not paying down the hard money at all. That's just your down payment. You're just financing your down payment at that point. So when I would go to that guy and say, hey, dude, I like your idea, but if I give you 100 grand, I need access to 200 grand at SOFR at 2 points. But that's negotiable. I negotiated that. Yes, because the banks tell you that. I'm like, well, what's the benefit? Why would I do that? There's no point in giving you this. Like, what they're saying is they can invest it in stocks that might make more than that SOFR plus 2 or whatever it is, but they just want to it's a ploy to get them to invest your money. Like, hey, we're going to invest your money and you still have access to it if you ever need it. But it only works better if you get more capital, because then you have to borrow less hard money. But you don't get more capital because you have the capital in the first place. Oh, you're muted, John. Oh, I still can't hear you, bud. Hey, John, we can't hear you, dude. I can't hear you.
No, I can't hear him either.
Yeah, we can't hear you, John. Maybe, John, just try flipping it to your phone. All right, we lost him. All right, let me see. What is the product John's talking about called? Yeah, Nicole, I think it's just it's a leverage account. So you guys, like, banks will say, hey, if you deposit this money to us, we'll give you access because we're going to reinvest it in stocks and those things. And the stocks should grow you. Instead of putting your money at a 3.5% interest rate in a bank, it should grow you at 6 to 7%, but you got to lock it up. A lot of time there's a lockup period. And then they'll say, well, no, we can still give you leverage on it. And the leverage, you guys, is cool because you can use it. But at the end of the day, if John's paying SOFR plus 2 for that money, and unless they're investing it in something that's hitting like a 10%, 12% return, it's not going to be the same financial impact.
James, can you hear me?
Yep, I gotcha.
Okay, sorry about this. I forgot where we left off. I think you were mentioning, yeah, if you can't borrow more money, right? If they're not giving you more, then it's probably not worth it.
Well, no, because you can take
Yeah.
that money
Yeah.
and not pay interest on it and just put it down against the property at that point.
Yeah.
If they
But-
give you more than what you're depositing them, then you can pay down your hard money loan.
Okay.
It's kind of more of a ploy so they can invest your money for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one way to look at it, it's more about pulling. I think James, you're on the path of pulling out money if you didn't want to sell your stocks and bonds.
Yes.
Assume the capital gain, so you could borrow against your stocks and bonds, and basically, but yeah, they hold back some of the money. So, but if it's cash, it makes no sense in this
Yep.
scenario.
Yeah.
But if you had like $2 million in stocks and bonds and you want to get $1 million out to go buy a house and not have a hard money loan, it might make a lot of sense for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the scenario that you're talking about, they're just doing a cash grab to get deposits.
Yeah. Okay.
But ask them, hey, I need give me 150 grand in leverage instead of 100. You know what? They're negotiable, John.
Yeah.
And say, I'll do that, but I need more access to capital, because then you would pay down your hard money debt at 7% instead of 12. That makes sense for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good call out. I can bring it up. All right. My next question is, I had someone approach me and ask me about what are the options for investing into a property that someone is living in, and for equity, right? So essentially, they have a property. So this guy has a property that he and his girlfriend are buying out her ex, and it's in Ballard. The house is completely remodeled from top, from top to bottom. The valuation is like $1.4 million. They're buying out the ex, and there's about a $250,000 gap that they're trying to come up with. And so what he was asking are there private money lenders, investors that will invest $250,000 for, I don't know, like the growth of the equity that's in a property for a number of years. He was saying, and I was like, well, what are the terms? Like, what would you be asking for? For how long do you want this investor to be investing, into your property for? And he says for like 5 to 10 years. Right. And then
so you can't do hard money because that's predatory lending. So if they're living in it, you have usury rates and laws.
Yeah.
And so they can't charge actual interest. They could buy an equity stake in it, but you can't charge. It would get classified as predatory lending at that point.
But okay, so then you can charge equity, right? So you can basically give a loan and have an equity share in the property. Is that what you're saying?
That one you need to run by a securities attorney, because that could still be equity skimming.
Oh, okay.
And what you're talking about is an agreement on an investment property. You can do that. On owner occupied, they would almost need to sell you a piece of the property or do a joint venture agreement versus a loan. You would not want to do a loan because you could get classed in predatory lending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
John, I just shared something in the group chat, Lofty AI. I'm not sure if they'll do owner occupied, but they kind of do what James is talking about, where they put the property into an LLC, there's fractional ownership. I'm not sure if they'll do owner occupied or not, but it's called Lofty.ai.
Lofty.ai. Okay.
I know one of the co-founders.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, that's where you want to do more, almost like they're selling you the property or doing an agreement on it.
Right.
You just don't want to do it as borrowing costs because there's so many consumer lending laws, and it's very, very easy for someone to kind of classify it that way if you're doing loan docs.
Yeah, I told him my initial thoughts. I was like, hey, I haven't heard about this with individual homes, with homeowners, right? With investors, like, it's pretty common. But he was just asking me because he knows that I'm kind of in the real estate investing world. So I told him, I said, yeah, I'll ask around and find out if there's even a path for this. But yeah, I'll check out that website, Nicole. Thank you.
Yeah, just you guys, whatever it is. One thing I do know is if you're ever doing any kind of an agreement with a homeowner that lives in it as an investor, try to make a partnership or a joint venture agreement. Stay away from the lending side.
Okay.
'Cause
La-
you lose every time in court.
okay. Thanks, James. Last question. So, do you have any advice on how to get a quicker turnaround on scope of work and projected costs from your contractor? Because what I'm finding right now, James, is that the properties that I've been touring that have been brought to me by, you know, brokers and wholesalers, will go and tour the property, and I'll bring my contractor out there, and he'll say, okay, give me like 24 hours so I can put something together. By the time we get back, like the property's already been scooped up, right? Another investor
Yeah.
has already been, they're faster than us, right? So I guess,
Or they didn't have a firm bid and they were getting more rough numbers, right?
yeah,
And then they're going, okay, based on the rough numbers out of contingency, I'm gonna buy it.
yeah. So would you say that as someone that's still new, that it hasn't really done a flip yet, that would be still a good approach, just to do rough numbers? Or should I be more concrete with my contractor and have a better idea of what the numbers are versus kind of just going in general? Because
Well,
I feel like
I guess the question would be, so like you have gotten bids back on this, right?
Mhm.
And so what was your original thought of the budget that you thought you were gonna achieve, and what was his bids coming back at? Like there
Yeah.
should be a consistency in there as far as
So like what I did on the last one was I didn't tell him what the wholesaler was putting for the budget. I just said, hey, this is kind of like the ballpark what I'm thinking. Do you think that we can do it with this price range? I didn't give him like the exact number, right? I wanted to see if he would be staying true to what he was telling me on what his margins were, right? So it's kind of like I was just kind of like trying to work backwards a little bit, but it was requiring him to do more work on the front end to just do his estimates. Whereas if I gave him what the projected costs were, then he'd be like, oh yeah, we could totally do this, right? I can do this for this price, no problem. Versus like, if I told him, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and I would kind of give him a ballpark versus giving the actual numbers, then he would be like, well, let me look more into this. And then he would spend more time trying to put those numbers together. And then it's just, I feel like right now the market has been so hot, and there just isn't a lot of inventory. So the stuff that is coming up, I'm like, I keep on losing because I'm not fast enough on my.
Yeah, and you have speed is key, especially in a hot market.
Yeah.
So John, did he submit you any quotes back or budgets?
No, on the last one, we didn't even get a chance. Like by the time like we heard back from the wholesaler, like the property was gone like the next day. So we didn't even get that point.
But he walked the property?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, but then don't tell him to he doesn't know whether it's gone or not. Get the bid. Right? Because you've already done all the hard work. You've gone out there, you've walked it with them, you did the things, and just we want that number. Because like even if you guys went through that motion twice, and let's say you thought the budget was 100 grand and he came in at 105 and 109, I'm gonna go, okay, well, if I put a 10% contingency on these numbers and I'm still happy with it, I can still get it down. But if I put a 10% contingency and they're hitting that scope of work, it allows me to tell, like, yes, I can do this now.
Mm.
And so take it to the, I think part of it's you're being pretty courteous to the guy. But you guys won't look at like it, because don't tell him to stop finishing the bids ever. Let him finish it through.
Okay.
Because it's actually will take him less time to finish the bid through than go look at 3 more houses because we can't move fast enough.
Yeah, because we looked at probably 3 or 4, right, together, and there are a couple times it just didn't work because either the project was like a little bit more than what we wanted. It was more than we wanted to try and do, and then the other one it just didn't fit just because like we didn't like the area. But the last 2, right, we just got we got beat by someone that was quicker. So I'm just trying to think like what I can do so that way next time, we can be a little bit, quicker on getting response, like, and not missing out.
Okay, yeah, so what we want is the actual information from him, though. He's got to give a bid.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you don't even know what his bids look like yet. You could get his bid back and be like, what the hell is this? Like,
Yeah.
that's your flagged, because you've never even worked with this guy yet. He's gone out with you a few times.
Yeah.
But we got to get that bid back and then look at that, because, what if his bids come back and it's missing 20% of stuff and he's over?
Right. Yeah.
And so-
That's exactly what I'm worried about, because when I've,
But so just don't tell him to stop ever. He
Yeah.
needs to get that quote to you.
okay, because when I've shared with him, like when I worked with like Nico, like from from your team, and Nico gives us like all that information, right, and then gives us like the projected cost for the rehab. Now, when I've shared it with him, he'll just say, "Oh yeah, I can totally do this, right? I can do this for this price, no problem, right?" Versus like if I don't give it to him, and I have him try to put something together, then it takes a little bit longer, and like we haven't gotten the bid. We haven't gotten
So
the
are
bid.
you giving him the full quote or just the number?
Just the number.
Okay, so what I'd do is next time you get a number,
Yeah.
knock 10% off of it.
Yep.
Say it's $100,000. Hey, I think I need to be around 90 grand on this. I got 100% do that. I'm good.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now I got a 10% buffer in there too.
That's exactly what I did last time.
And, and then to have the quote prior to commitment, that's not going to
Yeah.
happen a lot of
Yeah.
times. But part of it is we got to take it through the finish line, because we need to see what this guy's quote even looks like.
Yeah. Okay.
And
All right.
he might say, yes, I can totally make it happen. But then his allowances could be 99-cent floors, honey oak cabinets, and all those things.
Hopefully not, but okay. Yeah.
But but we need the data to look at it.
Yeah.
But if someone tells me, hey, I think we're good at this number and I'm below budget, I'm going to feel pretty good just committing to that deal, going, okay, I can work this backwards and figure this out no matter what.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing too, John, is like when you're working with like a team like Nico and them, there's extra resources that come with our services. And so if you're already starting below budget, the guy says he can hit it, but tell him like 90% of whatever the budget number is.
Yep.
Go over the scope with him. And if he says, yeah, I'm 100% in, then okay, start drafting that. I would make the commitment at that point. If he's like, I think so, like it might be tight, then I'm gonna be like, I need to know this number.
Would you have me? So if I get those numbers in advance, right? Would you recommend me to share that with him before we walk?
I want to
the
see his
property?
quote before we give. We don't want to show all our cards, right?
Yeah, see-
It's
And that's what I've been avoiding. I haven't been doing like I did it a couple times, and then I haven't done that after that because I want to see what he does.
but you can tell him the number verbally.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you could use that budget sheet to kind of negotiate, like, okay, well, this is how I came to my number.
Yeah.
Like right now, I walked to a site with a contractor. I used that new checklist that I dropped in there. I gave that to him, told him what my number was, because they like to negotiate every which way. He's either going to come back and hit my number, or he's going to say, I'm at this number. Then I'm going to pull out my budget sheet and start going line by line with him on how I came up with my number.
Mm.
But I'm not going to give him all the information up front so he can nickel and dime it and pick it apart.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think we have a couple more properties that we're going to be trying to look at here the next couple of days. So I just want to figure out a strategy for this, so that way we can try and win some.
Yeah, so just throw out 10% of what your actual budget is and just see
Yep.
if he bites on that. That gives
Yep.
you that buffer room in there.
Okay, so in advance, I'll give him the verbal 10%. Have it finished.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you, James. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, for sure. I saw a question in the chat. Alex says, what do you do with your Microsoft Paint sketch once it's finalized? Create renderings. So Alex, I send that back over to our as-built guy, and then for $200 they'll map it up and put all the walls in. For the one that I drew out in Shoreline, I'll probably just put the measurements on it because there's nothing really structural going on, and I know what the spaces are and looked at them. And so I'll probably finish those lines, throw the measurements on, and I'll just probably do them myself at that point, because it's not that much moving around. You know, that will work. But I don't, typically we sketch them up, I submit it back to the architect or as-built guy, and then they redraft them at that point.
Thank you.
Do any more questions? Is there Apple comparable to Microsoft Paint? I don't know. Maybe PowerPoint? Or no, they don't have PowerPoint on Apple either. That's why I stick with my PC. All right, guys. Well, any more questions at all? We kind of had some long-winded questions. But I think they're really good for educational purposes.
I have a
Alex.
quick one. Because you touched on knowing your buyer. Is there something that I can like ask my broker about to sort of identify who my buyer is? Because I'm in an interesting area. And I'm trying to figure out who my buyer would be.
Yes,
I
I
don't
would
know.
have my listing
Mhm.
broker call the sold properties,
Okay.
or they can also see who sold the property as the selling broker,
Okay.
and then call them and just say, hey, just checking to see, we got a project coming up in the area. It looks like your buyers fell in love with it. Can you tell me a little bit about them?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
No, yeah, for sure. It's I'm guessing yours would, yeah, yours is a little different. Florida's different. There's like rich people buying properties as vacation homes. So it's definitely a little bit, you know, I would say Newport Beach is kind of similar. Like people kind of, the luxury markets, the vacation markets can change a little bit.
Yeah, this particular area is like an up and coming area. So I don't know. So this broker said it could be families looking for like something a little more affordable compared to what's across that river, which is a really nice suburb. But then since it's up and coming, you might get Airbnb investors or like I think the person who bought my comp is like a young Microsoft guy. So you might have those people moving in. So I don't know, it might be a bit of a mix.
Yeah, I would just, I mean, and another thing you can do, Alex, is if you want to be a stalker, is you
Yeah,
can go on,
I
like
am.
Property Radar, put the address in, see what the buyers' names are, and then Facebook them.
Yeah, I did that for the comp. That's how I found out he was a Microsoft guy that moved from, I think, New York or something.
Oh, okay, so
So
he's like single.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
And then, but you know what? Then I would have the broker call on a couple other price points in the area and see who those buyers were, and maybe that's just what it is.
Yeah, I'll do that then. That'll help. Cool.
Yep. Says, what do you think about to buy old property, but the insurance is too high? Old buildings. We have I have around 18 lots. Do you think you bought? What do you think about to buy an old property, but the insurance is high? Or building a new one? Okay. So insurance costs, you guys, on older buildings, you can reduce that cost once you get the systems upgraded. A lot of times that's going to reduce. Building right now to rent, I can tell you, is not a good business model. The cost, you know, but what you'd want to do is you'd want to look at, okay, what's my cost to build that unit? How much is the financing charge going to be to construct that unit? And then look at what your total overall basis is, you know? So if you have a lot and let's say you can build for 300 grand, I'm going to take that 300 grand and I'm going to put it into my mortgage calc at the interest rates. They'll be around 6.5% to 7% right now. Look at what the total balance is or the total payment is, and then run it against rents. But the problem is, as far as I know, building to rent it's just because the cost to build's really high and the financing high. I don't know, like I know in Washington, almost nobody's doing it right now, even the big developers. And so it kind of depends on the math, like how much is it going to cost you to build those units? And so I would get a bid on that and then again, run the mortgage balance payment against what the cost to build is. And then you can figure out whether it's going to cash flow or not against the rents.
And then James, how are you just deciding based on a certain amount of cash flow? Or are you doing it based on a cap rate? How are you kind of deciding at that point if it does cash flow, like whether to move forward or not?
Oh, well, that comes down to cash on cash return. Now, if I can build it and leave no money in the deal and it cash flows, I'm going to look at doing that for sure.
Okay.
Because that means I created a 20% equity position. For me, I don't look at cap rates that much. I use cap rates to evaluate what the property could be worth if I go to sell it based on
Right.
cap rate averages. It's all about how much cash is left in that deal and what's my annual cash flow on it. And so,
But like, I guess I'm thinking like developing build to rent and then selling.
oh, build to rent and sell, then you'd want to run the value. So you would run that on what the market cap rate is in the area.
Right.
And so
okay.
you guys, when things sell, like let's say it's in Scottsdale proper, the average multifamily for like a renovated, nice new building for like a Class A type building, the cap rate will probably be like a 5.5 cap. And so based on the cash flow and price, you can run your cap rates and values based on the averages. I don't like that business model right now, though. It's really, a lot of multifamily or cash flowing items on those kind of things aren't selling that well unless it's a 1031. And so I would rather flip a house than build to rent and sell all day long. It's way easier to sell.
Somebody wanted to see what mom's doing.
Sandra, did you, I saw your hand pop up after that. Sandra, are you there? Okay. Let me see, guys. All right, well, I think that might be it for the questions tonight. So I'm gonna let you guys go to next week. We're talking about brokers and building that right team. So, but you guys, by all means, too, if you ever have floor plans, you want some feedback, throw them in the Facebook page. I'm hopping on the Facebook page later tonight, rambling through or kind of hammering through some questions that usually I'm on every 3 to 4 days in there. But if you have floor plans, something like that, throw it in. I'll give you my feedback. I mean, even with Nicole's and them, I kind of looked at it and I'm going to give you, now I'm not looking at the comps, but for flow and affordability for renovation, I'll give you my feedback. So.
Awesome. Thank you, James.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Sandra, did you have a question?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Okay. I saw your hand go up and then we couldn't hear you. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have my earphones. I just I'm in Louisiana and I have like 18 lots. I've been flipping, but for the last 2 years I don't do it. The market is not good for flipping. So I built in a house and I put it for sale and it take me like 3 months and no offers, so I renting, but I don't cash nothing. I just pay the mortgage, the insurance, and the taxes. I have 2 properties like that. But I still have a lot of lots and I'm gonna start building duplex right now, but I don't know, it's just to keep them for renting, but my numbers is like, I'm not gonna cash nothing. It's gonna be just like pay mortgage, insurance, and I don't know, the taxes. So how I can turn it to flip? How I can flip it again?
Oh, how can you get back into flipping?
Uh-huh.
I know you can flip in New Orleans. I think we just got to look at what you were doing because, yeah, and actually she's going to be coming on to speak on our group call soon about remote flipping.
Okay.
Dom, there's a gal I've spoken with a couple times. Dom flips NOLA. Great person. She's like 25 years old. She flips about 15 to 20 houses at a time in NOLA. And she
Wow.
does it all remote.
Okay.
And she's been doing very well out there. And that's just kind of what she buys. She buys, this stuff for 150 grand, puts 50 in, 60 in, sells it for 250 to 299.
Yeah, that's what the looking at. They have it like 129, 139, but I don't know how to when I put the numbers together, they don't make sense for me. And the insurance, those houses, usually we insurance 3,000. Now it's like 6,000 plus the
Yeah,
flood insurance.
Yeah,
so
because you got the flood zones in there too.
yeah.
Yeah.
so
So and yes, and so it makes it hard to cash flow it.
Yep.
And so Sandra, what I'd like to do is let's kind of work backwards a little bit. So the deal that you didn't sell and that you kept as a rental, right? Because
yes.
one thing I have realized in life is no matter what, we can flip something in your neighborhood because it's no matter you can always do it. Like even when people say, well, Seattle's not great for flipping, it's too expensive. I do very well there.
Yes. Yes,
And,
I know.
and it's and so it's about putting the right plan on it. And that's what we want to do is let's look at the deal that you had. If you could put the parameter, like if in the Facebook page, if you could put a link to the old listing in there.
Oh, yes.
And then will you put a link to the comps that you were using to price the house?
Okay.
And then let's look at that first. Like, were you selling apples for apples?
All right. Yes.
And then let's kind of look at that. And then we also put in what your rehab costs were and what you did.
All right. Yeah, I
'Cause-
think I always tend I'll do like 10 already, like 10 flips, but I think I always overdo it. Being like review my numbers, I always think like I should not spend the money in this and that, but it's like it's always happened. I don't know.
And when did you pull it off market too? When did you try to sell that house?
That was we to 2023. 23.
Oh, is that when rates shot up?
Yeah, that's when the
Oh.
rate like, and I don't have no showings, no calls, like maybe one call and 2 showings in 3 months. And I told my agent, you know what, renting the house, I don't care. And you know, I don't lose money because I don't pay from my pocket because I'm renting, but you know, I don't make any money. Actually, I think I put like $1,000 toward to the taxes this year.
Yeah. Well, and then you listed that like a few months after the rates have gone up.
It was right there. It was like we put the house, and like 2 months later, the rate started going up. And
Oh, that was yeah. That's just that you just got caught in a bad time. I mean, Sandra, I lost like almost 400 grand during that time. It just when something like that happens, it jolts the market, right? And it's going to change all the numbers across the board.
yeah,
And so, you know, one thing I would do right now though is have your broker run a CMA. Are you the broker? No, you have a broker, right?
I have a broker. I'm working in my license right now, but I still don't have it. But I'm working with somebody for a long time, for 12 years.
Have they looked at comps on that house recently?
No.
Okay, so what I want to do, I want you to have them look at comps recently because what happened is when rates shot up, the markets all came down real quick. And they've slowly rebound, and now like even Seattle we're selling for way more than they were going down to. And so there's a shock in the market.
Okay.
And so that house, let's check the value on that one too. But that one, it might just be bad timing on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right
I'm
now,
with you. I had a few going on at that time.
Yeah.
And it was but
But
one thing
you're-
I had to do is I just kept buying, but I get better deals. And so definitely
Yeah,
I
but
want to
you're
see
rich
what
and I'm poor.
I want to see what deals you're looking at because Dom is one of the coolest people. I just really enjoyed meeting
Okay,
her a few times. And she does a meetup group too in NOLA. Have you ever been to hers?
No, I know you put the link in the Facebook. I'm looking for, and I'm a go to start to go to, you know, to meeting people to see I can do it. Like I said, I have the blueprint, and I'm the bank just waiting, and the architect have to draw something, and I have the loan, but I just have 200,000. I don't know how I'm gonna make the duplex with 200,000 because I don't know in your area, but right here the concrete just go up like 180 for yard, so it's crazy.
Yeah, what if and one thing you could look at though with that many lots and you know there's capital you got to come up with capital which you might not have all the there's a lot of lots to build.
Yes.
And then the cash flow and it could be the cost to build. I would almost look at maybe partnering with some builders there that want to do like an equity deal with you where you're bringing in the lot, they're going to build it at cost and then you guys could do a split on it.
Oh, sounds good.
That could definitely be, you know, I mean, one thing I would do is kind of look up in your area who has been building the duplexes and single families in that area and selling them.
Okay.
And then I would contact them and just say, hey, look, I got these 18 lots. I'm an investor myself, but I don't build, I flip. Would you be interested in maybe looking at a partnership where I contribute the land for free? You're going to build it at cost, and then we do some sort of split. And if they're interested, let me know, and then we can start asking them certain questions like, how much would it cost to build this? Will you fix bid this? And then we can start looking at the numbers and going, hey, you can offer it to this builder with this plan, and it makes sense for him and makes sense for you.
All right. All right.
And so find out how much a builder would build it for in the area too. That's very good information we can work with.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that was tough times, Sandra, but I promise you, it's got a lot better. And I definitely want you to go to Nola's group or Dom's group. I might speak at it eventually.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. Yeah, because right now I invest my money in the lots and I don't have no more money.
Well, let's make more then.
All
So
right. Thank you so much. That's because I am here.
yes, well, and then also on these lots too, do you own them free and clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you own them free and clear.
Yeah.
You have your broker pull the comps for the sales of duplexes in that area too for me?
I don't do like, I started do the blueprint, I don't know, like 6 months ago, and I think she pulled it back then, but I don't know right now. I don't ask her.
Yeah, if I can get just so I can look at it, then I can understand your build costs, what they're worth, and then give you some good advice.
Yeah, so you want me to post this in the group, in the Facebook group?
That would be great. And then I can kind of give you feedback on it.
All right. Sounds very good. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Sandra.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna cut you loose, and I will see you all next week. Oh, don't forget, Zombie House Flipping, $1 Million Zombie Housing comes out March 1st, Saturday. Make sure you watch it, guys. A&E. Cool.
Actually, James, good question on that. Do you know how people who don't have cable can stream it?
Ooh, let me find out. I know they're like, depending on how it does, they might stick it on Hulu or somewhere too.
That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, because obviously a bunch of us, I imagine at this point, don't have cable. So I was looking into how to try to stream it.
It's a good question because I think A&E is kind of weird to where they don't have a lot of streaming because they do some other kind of licensing stuff.
Right.
I'm gonna have to give you guys all my YouTube TV logins. Oh, it says A&E app is on Apple TV, Fire, Android, Samsung.
But like, do you need a cable subscription to be able to watch that? Like, cause like, do they have their own sub, or like, how do you know what I mean? Cause they're gonna be like, connect to your Cox or your whatever, your Verizon or Comcast.
What says you can get? Wait, watch A&E friendly TV. Stop. I don't know. Let me look into that. I don't really watch TV much. But I know I have YouTube TV at my house, which has been way better actually, and cheaper.
Okay, that might be a way if it's on YouTube TV.
Oh yeah, way better than Spectrum down there.
I mean, I don't have any of the cable. I just have like Netflix, Hulu, HBO, like all the apps.
What TV? Local Xfinity, Cox, Spectrum, Verizon, Dish, DirecTV, streaming live TV services, Hulu Plus. You got me on that one. I'm better at floor plans than I am watching TV. But let me find out. Let me see what we can do on that.
Okay, thank you. I was gonna do a little like San Diego viewing party for the people down here.
No, that would be awesome. Well, if anything, I'll just give you my YouTube TV login.
Perfect.
Yeah, there. That'll fix it right there. So cool.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Good night.